All right, welcome on into another episode of, DCU Daily and Also Curious. There's going to be a lot of DC stuff today, as per always, as per usual. But we also have some news from Marvel side. We've got to talk about, of course, the big news that dropped earlier in the day. The Legend of Zelda has cast its two leads, Zelda and Link. We know who they're going to be, and we'll be talking about that right off the top of the show. Then we have a bunch of news from the world of Superman. We got to talk about there's box office numbers. We have an even better idea at how much everybody got paid, how much money that Superman inject into the economies of cities like Georgia and Cleveland where they shot a lot of the movie. We have to talk about that, of course. Then Fantastic Four. It turns out John Malkovich might not be joining the MCU after all, so we'll get into that. We have to talk about 5 different trailers. The new trailer for the Hoppers movie from Pixar, Stranger Things 5. Of course, we have I don't know what you want to call it. It's a Johnny Cage trailer. Maybe it's a teaser to the teaser trailer for Mortal Kombat 2. It's basically Johnny Cage being, like himself, like in a fake movie within a movie sort of a trailer. I love that we got that a day before the actual Mortal Kombat 2 trailer comes out, and a new poster. And of course, the other big news of the day, we have a Supergirl first look, a new teaser poster from James Gunn. What does that mean? Does that mean we're actually getting a Supergirl trailer coming up at Comic-Con? Or maybe even more than that? And we'll dive into that and so much more. To do that, let's hit that news intro and get the show started.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number 2.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see Colin.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right. Well, it's a packed show, as I mentioned before the intro there. A lot of Superman news, a lot of DC news in general. We're going to even talk about Peacemaker. There's some theories around maybe Ultraman isn't quite dead in the DCU. And, well, can he come back as another iconic or one of several iconic Superman villains? So we'll do that later in the show. But like I mentioned before, we have to start off by talking about Zelda. We have Superman. Some news on that front, the box office for this upcoming weekend. How much money is Superman going to make in a second weekend? And then beyond that, of course, we will dive into the quick hits. So to do that and so much more with me, as always, I've got John. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderfully. So much news. Hopefully we're not here until like 3 a.m, but one can only hope that we're not. So here we are. Yay.
That is the goal. Let's we can't spend
there's
a
a
ton
hole,
of time.
there's a goal.
That is something that you have said before. You can find that comment in the archive.
Yeah, and today is a day that ends in Y. Okay, like what do you want us to do?
Steven, we tried to get up there a bit sooner. The problem is today it's just the bombs kept on coming. There's news on news on news on news. But now that we're here, we're going to dive into it. Hello, Frankie. Caleb was the first one in the chat. Honka Honka and Enterprising is here. Movie Spud, of course, also here. Hello, all here for Smurfs Daily. Yeah, that's one movie we will not be talking about today, thankfully. But you know what, John? I mentioned just a few minutes ago, the very first thing we want to kick off the show with is The Legend of Zelda. Now, of course, The Legend of Zelda is a movie that is set to come out in 2027, so it's still a ways away. Now, with that in mind, we were all curious where they're going to go with the casting for this movie. Hunter Schafer was a big name that was thrown around for that's who we're going to get for Zelda. Who's going to play Link? And we were speculating how young do they want to go? Which direction are they going to go with, the casting being a significant and important part of ultimately what this movie is going to look like? Well, now we have an idea of just how young they're going. And John, we have the names, we have first looks and the names of the actors they're brought into the movie, and it looks like they might have a franchise in the works here. At least that's the goal, because the Legend of Zelda, as you see here from Variety, I saw this morning, it said the live action movie has now cast Bo Bergazon, and I hope that's how you pronounce it. I apologize, Bo, if I got that wrong. And Benjamin Evan Ainsworth as Zelda and Link, respectively. So, John, what are your reactions to this? I mean, when I first saw these names, I was looking at them and like, okay. So I had to look up their IMDb's. I found out that Bo has done Renegade Nell, which I haven't seen much. She's done some like Disney stuff. And then Benjamin, who's going to be playing Link, he's done The Haunting of Bly Manor, and he did one of the Pinocchio movies. I forget which one, but they aren't really well-known names. These are not A-listers. Don't really far cry from like, the names that we were speculating when we first heard that they were working on a Legend of Zelda movie. But now that we know that Bo Bergazon is playing Zelda and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth is playing Link, what are your thoughts? And then also, are you excited for the movie with these two on board as the leads?
I'm not excited for the movie because it has too much going against it. Unfortunately, like, not a good writer, not a good producer. Director, I'm Wes Ball. He did a good job with the latest Planet of the Apes movie, which is, exciting, and I'm sure these guys would do great, but I'm glad they went with unknowns, because I know everyone was like, Tom Holland is Link and Hunter Schafer is Zelda. Like, if they wanted to go in that direction, then sure, cool, but I like how they went with relative unknowns, and I know that they want young because they want like a big franchise. They're probably going to be doing I don't know if they're going to do like an Ocarina of Time adaptation, but like with how like young they are, it seems like they're going with like Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time kind of situation, because they're like, I don't know, like I think they're like late teens, early 20s at the most. So, I hope they're good, and I hope the movie's good. I just don't have a ton of faith in it, unfortunately. And for a fact that Link is gonna speak, which is, a lot of people are like, that's not great, but it's an unfortunate thing that we have to do.
You can't not do that, though. I mean, how would you not have Link speak, right? Like, to me, that's just something you can't. Yeah, in a movie, I don't see how that would work if you don't have one of your lead characters. I mean,
unless
look,
it's like
if you want to get
Henry, but like it kind of works there.
We're not getting a POV style Zelda movie, and I don't think we are. But if you go to the other article, John, from comicbookmovie.com, they give us more of an idea of essentially, the statements from both the creators of Zelda. So I think the original tweet was in Japanese, but then it's translated saying, and this is from Shigeru Miyamoto, who's one of the executive producers on the film. He said, I am pleased to announce for the live action film of The Legend of Zelda, Zelda will be played by Bo Bergazon's son and Link by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth's son. I am very much looking forward to seeing both of them on the big screen. And then if you scroll down a bit further here, John, we have an old tweet from the director Wes Ball indicating that he's been wanting to do this movie for a long time, because this tweet is all the way back from 2010, where he said, since I could never even hope to have a chance to direct it, the next big mocap Avatar-like movie should be The Legend of Zelda. So, I mean, that's 15 years ago. Now he's got his dream gig. But it raises a couple of questions in my mind, right? I feel like the photos they have in that Variety article, those are the ones from the tweet. So they feel like official first looks, like they're dressed like the characters. But then you read the comment of the tweet from Wes Ball from years ago, and he's talking about Avatar, like, live action mocap.
Well, to be fair, things change,
But I'm just saying, like, does that which direction are they going in? Is this completely live action? Is there going to be some of that, like, because even in Avatar movies, they have those mocap characters, but then they have a lot of like real, actors. Like we see Joe Sully's like being played by Sam Worthington until he becomes Avatar full time, and you obviously still have other human characters. So I wonder, now that we know the cast, should we expect in terms of the style of the movie? Is it going to be like a hybrid live action animated mocap situation like Avatar, or are they truly committing to the live action? And then as a B part to that question for you would be, do you think they're firmly trying to establish this as the kickoff to a whole franchise, given how young they've gone with these two
Oh
leads?
yeah, I mean, if it does well, this is gonna be a franchise. Now, I don't know what they're gonna be adapting. I don't know if it's gonna be an all new story and it's only taking inspiration from various ones. If I were to take a guess, I know I mentioned Ocarina of Time. I don't I agree with that, but it seems like they're going in that direction. Um, so there is that, but I feel like they might take inspiration from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom because those are the most recent Zelda games and those are the most like noteworthy in the eyes of fans because like, oh yeah, of course I know that because you know, that's the most recent thing. So I can see them doing that. I could see them doing an adaptation of I can imagine that they'll probably adapt a game where Zelda has a prominent role. None of the early games because she was just
Right.
kidnapped. So women power, all that shit. So they're probably gonna have her in like a bigger role. And I mean her name
Well,
is
I mean,
on
it
the
is the Legend
fucking
of Zelda.
title. So,
Um,
but
no,
yeah, I,
yeah.
I I think they can do something good with this. I just don't have a ton of hope for it is all, which is unfortunate.
Wait, I don't know if my audio is not working. Can you hear me, John?
I can hear you.
Hello?
I can guys, can you hear me?
Yes, I think we're back. We're back. Sorry, it was on my end. It was my
I
end.
was like, I just
I was
said
like, I think,
something
John,
and
did
you're
you
acting
finish
like
talking? Because like
I
I
did.
think my internet froze up a little bit. Anyway, awkward
And not
silence.
gonna lie,
Sorry
that
about
would
that.
be awesome, but they would definitely make it live action.
Yeah. Adrian saying we love it here in Australia. Are you talking about Superman or Zelda? Adrian, let us know. I know you were talking about Superman earlier, Adrian, and we're actually getting to Superman in just a bit. But I mean, look, I'm excited about this movie overall. Just if you want to go back to the look of the two actors again, the first look that they gave us. I mean, one of the questions that you guys just mentioned in the chat is a good one. I think Stephen was asking, when do you think pre-production begins on the movie? The fact that they have the two leads leads me to believe, and pardon the pun, or the alliteration, with the director being there, the two leads being there, I imagine they'd made this decision because they already have a script in place. So, but the movie's set to come out in early spring of 2027. I'd imagine, I mean, this probably is a movie that has a lot of VFX. So they will likely go into pre-production later this year, and if they don't start filming by the end of the year, they'll certainly start filming next year and give themselves a good year plus of post-production time. John, do you agree with that? Do you think they need to go into production even sooner, or do you think that's probably the timeline that we're talking about here?
Yeah, I think I think that's like a good timeline. And I've played I think I played a little bit of Twilight Princess and a little bit of Link to the Past. I have not played a ton of them, but I'm aware of like some of the lore, and it's one of those like franchises I want to get into, but I just like don't have the time or the patience to go through that because I know it's a lot of puzzle solving, and I like puzzles, but like if I don't get it immediately, then I'm just like I'm never playing this again. Like I'm kind of like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I haven't played a Zelda game in quite some time, but I'm trying to get the
who do
Nintendo
you think will
Switch
play
too.
Ganondorf?
So.
Jack Black.
I wouldn't be surprised at this rate, the way he's landing all these franchise roles.
Yeah, I
Hopefully
don't
these are
think
not
these are from the
screenshot.
movie. I
Yeah,
think these are
probably
um
concept art well, not concept art, but like maybe just screen test images. I'd imagine they probably did some
yeah.
screen testing with the actors and put them in costumes that are relative approximations of the real thing. So yeah. Oh, your screen just went completely black,
Oh,
John.
did it? Oh god. I don't know why
But
it does that.
yes,
There we go.
look, Enterprising, your roommate loves Zelda, and Fiona loves Zelda. My favorite doggy in the world is Zelda. So we're gonna be going to see this movie a million times, I'm sure. I know this is gonna excite a lot of fans. My only question would be how much money can it actually make? Because with how good Super Mario Brothers did, and you see other movies like Barbie doing well to the tune of $1.5 billion, $1.5 billion. If they get it right, Zelda has enough of a fan base that I do believe they can probably, make over $1 billion. Breath of the Wild. I mean, there's so many games they can pull from, like we've been talking about. Logan talking about going to see Superman a third time. So yeah, we will get into Superman in a second, but no, absolutely. As far as this news goes, John, it's one of the biggest pieces of casting news we've gotten all year, and now I'm excited to see what becomes of it, what other updates come our way. And like Steven was asking earlier, it's going to be interesting to see when they actually go into production, because it will probably let us know a little bit more about just how much VFX are they going to need for this movie. Are they going with that hybrid animation live action style that Wes Ball, the director of the movie, pitched for this all of 15 years ago? Is that the version of the movie that he was able to pitch and get the job as a result of that? So we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, the fan base is huge, like Enterprising is saying. You guys let us know in the comments down below what you think about the casting for The Legend of Zelda. Still about a year and a half away. Comes out in the spring of 2027. Until then, I'm sure we'll be talking about more from the movie when we see it go into production. We'll probably get behind the scene set photos, and then we'll wait for the trailer, the poster. But 2027 may feel like a long time from now, but it's going to sneak up on us. So I can't wait. I know you guys probably can't wait. Let us know in the comments what you think about the casting and what are your expectations. Which games would you like to see them adapted, and how would you like to see the character designs come to life in live action? So we'd love to hear from you. And while you're at it, hit the like button. We do appreciate that as well. But right now, as a lot of you guys have been saying in the chat, we've got Logan saying I might go see Superman for the third time, and is giving it a 7.9 out of 10. A great start to a good start to the new DCU. It looks like Adrian is already talking about the box office for Superman. He loved the movie in Australia, saying, first time I've ever cared for the character of Superman on a human level. Well, Adrian and Logan and everybody else in the chat, we have been talking about Superman nonstop. And so today we will continue talking about Superman because, John, now that the movie is out, James Gunn is relieved. We will talk about that a little bit later in Quick Hits, his reaction to the fans and the critics loving it almost unanimously. But there were questions about just how much money can Superman make at the box office, both domestically and internationally. I know Adrian was looking at it and saying like roughly 300 million at last check. We will go into the specifics in a second. But before we do, John, we have to dive into how well this movie is doing midweek. Now, I saw the numbers. I have the website pulled up on my end. Let me just quickly see if I can bring that in for a second before we go into the Tuesday number, because I think it's significant that while this movie did fairly well with 125 million domestic opening, and of course 95 million internationally, we were all wondering what is it going to do midweek. On Monday, it had made 12.9, basically 13 million, which was, I think, the second highest Monday at the domestic box office of the year. And then you see the number there on the 15th, on Tuesday, yesterday, from when we were doing the show live, it made 17 million, which, going back to the post that you have open, John, that 17 million of the domestic box office makes it the biggest Tuesday of the year for Superman. So that's a great start. Now, if you continue on to the next article, John, we have some numbers about like the upcoming second weekend where they're looking at in Variety at least 55 million or more. And then if you go on to the next article beyond that, we've got some news from Deadline, and they're talking about, look, this movie could do 60 million or more, and it will certainly fly past Smurfs and also I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then
which apparently both got make much bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really, I think it was like in the 30s or 40s. So you look at these numbers. Let's start with I'll pose you a two-parter question. One, if going back to what is done in midweek, the biggest Tuesday of the year so far, second biggest Monday of the year, the domestic box office is doing really well for this movie. We knew it would make more domestically relative to the international box office because Superman is more popular in the US in general, unlike Batman, which is really a lot more popular worldwide. But then also the second weekend, if it makes anywhere in the neighborhood of, let's say, 55 to 60 million, depending on which outlet you might believe, that's like 50% off of the first weekend. That's a really small drop. That's always for any movie opening over 100 million at the opening weekend, for it to drop around 50%. James Gunn has done it a few times before, so he just knows a thing or two about movies that do that well. But for Superman to do this today at a time when we were worried about DC movies not doing very well, what are your thoughts on Superman's box office success? From the midweek numbers to the second weekend, how far can this movie go especially because if it's doing well in the middle of the week with the summer, days where everybody's on a holiday and kids can go see it again. Logan's seeing it a third time. The Watcher probably has seen it like 8 times by now. I'm just excited, but like, what are your thoughts on the success so far? Because we were a little pessimistic coming out of the opening weekend that maybe it wasn't going to go as high as we thought it would, but now maybe the numbers will be a lot better considering what we're seeing for the predictions for this upcoming weekend.
I think now in terms of the prediction, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, not only is Superman still huge, you have tons of people going multiple times. I've already went multiple times. And on top of the fact, like, nothing good is coming out this weekend. Like, you have Smurfs, which is like super kiddie, which is like, and this is the third or fourth outing for the Smurfs on the big screen, and it just none of the movies have been all that good. And what's the point in that? Eddington, after the polarizing Beau is Afraid, Ari Aster isn't in like the eyes of a lot of people now. Plus, it hasn't really had a lot of marketing. I know what you did last summer is probably the biggest one, but that's R-rated, so it's probably not gonna get a lot of people butts in seats. So it's like, yeah, not that great.
Angelica is wondering if you want to review the other movies.
No,
on that
I'm not
list.
watching either of that crap. I will watch Eddington if it's like okay, but that's
I mean, I don't think any of these other 3 movies are going to do very well in the face of Superman. You look at the numbers; they're expecting a 52% dip. Monday and Tuesday were really strong. They mentioned a running 5-day tally put Superman at 155 million to the domestic box office. And I know, Adrian, you mentioned that the worldwide number has crossed 300 million. Well, I can confirm that it has, because you go on the numbers.com and they're talking about, or they've listed here, the domestic box office now sits at 155 million. And the international box office, John, has actually caught up and surpassed it now with almost 159.5 million. So actually a greater percentage, slightly higher than 50% of the movie's box office takes are now coming from international markets. And then, basically roughly around 50% of it from the domestic. So that's a really good number. So Yash might indeed have to pay up, because I don't know, his bet at this point, John, this movie's already got 300 million. Where do you see it by this time next week? Because if it's doing so well in midweek, like, can you imagine? Because like, here's the thing, there's for a moment, let's do a thought exercise. It made 30 million domestically between Monday and Tuesday
exercise
alone. You know what, John? I just work with me here. Just work with me here. So what I was just saying is it's made 30 million between Monday and Tuesday just domestically. You maybe probably roughly the same internationally. We don't know those numbers just yet. And usually the international numbers take longer to come in because there's a lot more markets they have to accumulate, whereas domestic is just US and Canada, right? So, but let's just suppose it's made 50 million between Monday and Tuesday worldwide, including 30 of that coming domestic, let's say another 20 internationally. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, those are the days of the week when people go see more and more movies. And with AMC giving you a discount between Tuesday and Wednesday, get 50% off. And it's the summer months. I mean, do you feel like by the time we get to maybe even the second weekend, this movie might already be crossing 400 million? And then if it crosses 400 million by the weekend, what about by this time next week, by next Wednesday? Do you think this movie has enough juice in it? Can it actually soar to like 600 million by next Wednesday before Fantastic Four even comes out on that Thursday?
I could see it.
Is it possible?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to imagine it doubling, but obviously we'll have to see with the international box office. So like, obviously that's a whole separate thing. So yeah, I would like to think it reaches that point. I think if I were to take a guess, by this time next week, it might be in like the 500s, 500 to 600 range. I don't think they will. I mean, this is their big, like, cornerstone of the year, pretty much. I don't think they'll rush it to streaming. I think it'll have a nice 30-day window at the very least.
I hope they don't rush it. Like this thing needs to stay out of streaming.
That they don't. I hope they go for like at least a 45-day window.
Yeah.
And even longer. I hope this has like a Top Gun Maverick where that shit didn't fucking leave until October.
No.
So,
And I know Tom Cruise had a financial interest in that because he made a ton of money as a result. But he's also a champion for the movies. Adrian saying my daughter and her boyfriend saw it last night and loved it. We all want to see it again. That is exactly what we keep hearing. That people are going back to see it with their friends and family, and they want to see it multiple times. And yeah, I mean, as far as the box office predictions go, I feel like 55 to 60 might be conservative, right? Disney does a 60-day window for a lot of the bigger movies, like Angelica was saying. So I can imagine easily Warner Brothers and DC Studios doing something similar here as well. Just quick question from Patrick while we were talking about the upcoming weekend projections, John. Do you think I Know What You Did Last Summer, the requel, is going to be a good movie? And what about Eddington? Patrick and Movie Spud were asking you.
Now, I want, here's the thing. Ari Aster shows some, Hereditary did well.
Wow,
Midsummer did
awesome.
pretty well. It's just like his third movie just absolutely and abhorrently shit the bed so badly that Amber Heard is jealous. So, it's, I want him to, because I liked
John.
Midsummer. And I liked parts of Hereditary. I liked more so it as a concept than I think as execution. But I just and Eddington seems like an intriguing premise. It's just I feel like it's a too soon kind of premise, or just I feel like they should have done this 10 years down the line rather than 5 years down the line. Just because I feel like people are still feeling the effects of COVID, and the fact that you're doing a movie on it is not great. But in terms of conceptually, I'm curious. It's got a good cast. It has America's Daddy and America's Favorite Vegan as part of the film, so as well as Elvis and Gwen Stacy. So a lot of great people in that cast. So I think that's
You're talking about Eddington, by the way. I
yes,
assume that's
Eddington.
yeah. Right.
Yeah, so Eddington, I'm a little bit more hopeful. It still won't beat Superman, not even close. I'm still curious about that. I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's always been a garbage fucking horror franchise. The first one is barely passable. I think I watched it on cable years ago, and I'm like, this is I don't know. I don't even know if I finished it or not. I don't even remember. But that movie was pretty garbage, and it's literally it was made to be a Scream ripoff, because that's what the whole point of it was, because it barely follows the book. So this coming Friday.
It is this Friday. But again, getting back to the Superman conversation, John, I just think it's amazing. It's terrific. It's fantastic. Use whatever superlative you want to, from everybody who's watching the show to all the stuff that we've been hearing elsewhere online. And in general, just the word of mouth for Superman is amazing. It is. And I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score for Smart Steven. It's not good. It's in the 30s last I checked. And I Know What You Did Last Summer was somewhere in the 40s. It might still move up and down. Eddington surprisingly seems not surprisingly the best one potentially out of the three, but as far as the Rotten Tomatoes score goes, I don't know. Adrian appreciates the Amber Heard reference, John. I know somebody in the chat mentioned that people that there's a rumor going around that these numbers for Superman are glitched. I don't think so, because I mean, these numbers are pretty much verified at this point. The data is directly being pulled from the companies that track all this information. So 314 million, almost 315, and these numbers don't even reflect Wednesday when we are doing the show live. So Superman, I'd imagine, look, my prediction right now for Superman's box office is that it gets to probably somewhere between 350 to 400 million by the time we get to the second weekend. And then if it pulls in another 60-65 million, if it then adds another, let's say, I don't know, 40 million,
the numbers are fudged. Source Jeff Snyder.
Yeah, you just do the math on it. If it's already at 400 million, then it makes another 100 million. I mean, now you're looking at 500 million easy. And by the time Fantastic Four comes out, if Superman's past 600 million, Yash, you owe us a super chat, or at least figure drawing
$50 super chat.
Whatever the bet was. Right now, whatever the bet was. So, and to be frank, none of those three other movies this upcoming weekend are going to be much competition for Superman. So you don't have to worry about that. But John, as we usually do when we talk about Superman, we don't just talk about the box office. We don't just talk about what's the movies reactions are on Rotten Tomatoes, whether people are liking or the critics are liking it. We also have to talk about the marketing, because I feel like the marketing campaign for Superman has been more comprehensive than any marketing campaign ever for any movie that I've seen in a very long time, outside of maybe Avengers Endgame. But the viral marketing approach and everything they've been doing, they haven't quite stopped yet. And they're still promoting the hell out of this movie in ways that don't even feel like marketing. Like, for example, BAFTA just put something out with a brief career summary of David Cornsweet, our current Superman, talking about how he started out with short films and done some TV shows.
Oh my God, he looks like a baby here.
Like 2011, and you look at the interviews that he does, his reference points are so similar to like us. Like, he's our generation Superman, right? Like, his favorite Superman growing up was Tom Welling. He was in the Twisters movie. He's a Star Wars nerd. His favorite James Bond movie is Casino Royale, even though and then I saw a video where he was talking about that.
Didn't we just no.
It's right there, right?
Yeah.
That's it right there. He was talking about, what is his favorite Bond film, Casino Royale, and then he has a hot take about that, because you guys know, if you guys have been around long enough on the show, when we do the Also Curious podcast, our intro is basically like the opening sequence from Casino Royale, where Daniel Craig turns around and shoots the gun at the camera, and then the intro hits, and the whole concept of like you need to have 2 kills to become a 00. David Cornsweet's hot take is basically, in the movie, he's sitting there in the office with the station head in whatever country he's in, and he's like, the first kill is the hardest one, and then he shoots, and then Bond kills him the second. It's considerably easier, is basically implying that he kills the dude in the bathroom, and then the station chief, and that's how he becomes a 007. But in the movie, like how we experience it, first he thinks he is drowned this guy, then in the sink in the bathroom, and then he gets up off the floor, and then Bond shoots him after shooting the station chief. So for us as viewers, we are basically watching like James Bond seemingly, not actually, like in the movie canon it's 2 kills, but it feels like 3 kills. So he's like, that is my hot take on Casino Royale that nobody was gonna like let me talk about anywhere in the promotional tour for this movie, but let me get it off my chest right now. So
I love it. I can watch this man yapping about anything. Bro, exactly. So passionate about this. And Supreme Leader is locked in.
Yes. I didn't know that he has his own YouTube channel with some of his film shorts. I'm gonna go find that. That's gonna be a fun afternoon.
Fuck yeah.
Yep. Patrick saying, I think they did a good job of the marketing, such that Warner Brothers did with Barbie. Yeah, absolutely. Ron is here. Ron, it's been a while, man. How you doing? Hello indeed. I love Superman. It was a 9 out of 10.
We'll see if it passes your prediction, which is still 500 million. So
yep,
we'll see.
John,
we'll see.
Talk about this for a second. I'll be right back. Yep. But I mean, again, this looks like AI, but it's still so much fun.
It is. Just very, very cute little oh, sorry. Yeah, it looks like Streaky the cat, and saved her from going to work. Very, very cute, very wonderful, showing off, the merch of Bewakoof. I don't know if I'm mispronouncing that, but a dog and a cat walk into a bar. It just all very cute, all very adorable, all very nice to see. But yeah, you can get these at Becca. That it says on the screen.
It's basically okay. So the way this is Indian merch, basically. Like, so Bewakoof is like somebody who's sort of like dumb or silly. So that's how you would pronounce it, Bewakoof. Like, that's another brand partner for the movie. And I like the cat they brought in. You could clearly tell that video was like AI generated, but I still love it. Love it so much. I watched that like 2 times over because it's cute. It's well scripted. And this is one use of AI that I'll actually probably just let slide. But John, let's keep on going because we have more promotional elements from this movie. It's not done promoting the movie. James Gunn is still doing a few more interviews, although we will talk about like his last one this week, because he finally finished promoting the movie. But one of his last appearances this week was just yesterday on the late night show with Seth Meyers. and he was talking about, just the inspiration for crypto. And again, he's told this story before. The idea that, when he first got rescued this dog Ozu, he was in like this hoarding situation where he was living with like 50 other dogs. And so when he brings him home, like Jennifer Holland's like, why do we need another dog? And then, he proceeded to destroy his house and like eat it and chew up the shoes. And then at one point, like he says, he is sitting on his kitchen counter talking to David Zaslav on the phone, and he sees Ozu like jumping up in the air. Like, so he sees his like head coming up the table every once in a while. He's like, oh my God, this dog is a menace. If only he had superpowers. Oh,
dude, why the fuck are you paying $10,000 for a laptop? Like, come on.
So I'm like, that's how he got the idea. I just thought it was an interesting story. I haven't heard like the moment that it sparked the origin of crypto for Superman, because I know a lot of people were like, how's crypto even gonna work? And I'm like, I think here's where the origin comes from. So Ron, we did talk about the box office. I think Superman will cross 500 million at this rate. And Casino Royale was, in my opinion, the best Bond movie.
And that's how
Adrian,
it is for most people,
Yeah. I see they got it. It's like the first Iron Man movie. They got it right the first time. In the MCU, they got it right with the first Craig movie.
Hey, a lot of people say Skyfall might be the best, so there's that too. So
Skyfall, I think I had it at number 1 for a while. Then, yeah, Casino Royale has moved back up. In hindsight, let's keep on going, John. We got a few more things to get in. This was okay. Look, I watched this back and I didn't even realize it was looping until the 5th time through. And this test footage looks amazing, doesn't it? The crypto and the robots, they're actually having a whole party in the Fortress of Solitude. I'm like, why wasn't this in the movie? All of these bits need to just be their own thing. in like the crypto show that they're working on, they should. I want to see all of this stuff. This looks so amazing. Oh man,
I do like the vibe.
Great.
I like the vibe of like the Kryptonian technology.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and you could tell that they're using like, this is a VFX test shot where they have the real set and they're comping it in the robot. I think that might be I can't tell if it's like one of the animatronics they built or is it CGI.
No, it's definitely
so
CGI.
Seamless. But this was also funny, John, because remember when they first started showing the first 30 minutes of Superman, and we heard that it was Cine Europe where they were doing this. Apparently, James Gunn and Peter Safran couldn't be there themselves, and so they were shooting this video to kind of introduce the first 30 minutes. And these are just some of the outtakes, and you could just tell these two guys love each other and love working with each other. To the point where Peter Safran's reading the teleprompter and James Gunn just can't keep a straight face. I've definitely been in situations like that where you're sitting next to each other and you have to like keep a straight face and you just can't hold it in. I'm sure they had a lot of fun.
It's definitely like in class where you're like, hey, anybody who laughs is gonna go to the principal's office, and your boy is just like like trying to make you laugh.
Yep. Yeah. Well, the end credits for Superman, James Gunn has said he didn't want to set up anything that he might not end up paying off down the line. So they're fun. They're not very consequential to the DCU. Ron, we'll get into that comment a little bit later. You have some critiques for the movie. But John, we had Will Reeve, the son of Christopher Reeve, on the red carpet talking about Superman. And of course, he works for ABC News for Good Morning America.
Good Morning America, yep.
And he's talking about just, again, the experience, how grateful, how happy he was to still be part of Superman's journey on screen. He's the younger son of Christopher Reeve from his second marriage.
Youngest, the one he had with his wife, Dana
Reeve.
Yep.
And I mean, obviously, like, him and the other two kids, they were all on one of the red carpet events earlier in last year when they were promoting Super. I think it was at CinemaCon, was it? Or one of the other events. You have seen James Gunn, David Cornsweet, and everybody with all the Reeve kids, so they've got their blessing. And yeah, I just love that they're keeping the heritage of the character and just Christopher Reeve's family engaged and involved in this. Another one of those cool Easter eggs from the movie. Let's keep on going, though. By the way, Aaron Taylor Johnson has not been confirmed as Bond. It is still a rumor indeed. All right. So this, I think, John, I don't know if you've seen this before. And of all the behind-the-scenes stuff that we have seen over the past year, if you click on this video, this is from when they were filming at the Cleveland Guardians Stadium, which they turned into the Cleveland Meteors, or not the Metropolis Meteors Stadium. Apparently, between the takes, they did like this theoretical first pitch between Superman and Ultraman, and you could tell like that's probably the Cleveland Guardians social media team filming this for their own
Yeah.
use. I love that they're again just keeping the whole
Like,
Cleveland community involved in this along the
like
way.
David Cornstarr is just one of those dudes that's just like he just racked up enough like good karma that now he's just like enjoying fucking life. Like like
Absolutely.
it would be like, even though I'm not famous or anything like that, yeah, like I'm not like the biggest sports fan, even though the pennants above me defy what I'm saying. But you can't see the ones on the other side of my room, and I'm not going to exactly turn around. It's kind of messy over there. But I have my Mets pennants over there, and it would be my fucking dream to throw out a pitch at Citi Field or something like that. That would be fucking spectacular. And then this he gets to do it because he's Superman. So it's like hell. Even though he's probably not a Cleveland fan, motherfucker's probably a fucking Phillies fan. Ugh, gross. But
I think he is a Phillies. Well, he lives in Philadelphia. I don't know.
He's from Philadelphia. Again, Philadelphia managed to produce one decent human being. So, like, congrats, David Cornstarr. You're the only good person to come out of Philadelphia. Congrats.
Enterprising said playing the joke of he's technically playing with himself. Well, he's playing with his own with his own clone. I see what you did there, though. But anyway, let's keep on going. We've got a few more things to talk about from the Superman marketing. I think we're going back to the red carpet in the next one.
Yes, I believe so.
Because Nathan Fillion apparently stole a prop from the set of Superman. John, can you guess which prop Nathan Fillion took home from the Superman?
I'm gonna take maybe the wig, maybe the leather jacket. If I were to take a wild guess, it's probably one of those. Maybe the hypno glasses that he mentions in the film. Yeah, I think that might be it.
I think it's the ring, John. I think it's the ring. He stole the ring. He is Green Lantern.
I was being facetious.
I think you were trying to time it out to the reveal, and you were just a bit early.
No. I was just being funny.
Okay,
that's all.
Yeah, David does seem like a cool guy, as does Nathan Fillion. Restore the bulge.
No,
yeah, man, restore the bulge. I was watching scenes from the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, and there's definitely some bulge happening on those movies too. But anyway, moving on to the next thing. We're not here to talk about Christopher Reeve too much.
Yeah,
I love how Maxwell Lord has his own fictional book. Past, Present, and Future by Laura Cheney.
Even though he's barely in the fucking movie, but it works.
I'm like, is this book available anywhere? Did they actually get a ghostwriter to write one?
It was funny because when he shows up at the very end of the movie, and I nudge my mom because my mom watched Gilmore Girls, and that's where she would know.
Kurt.
She would know Sean Gunn, but she was
Kurt.
like, "That's his brother, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Sean Gunn, that's Kurt from Gilmore." She's like, "I know that, but it's James Gunn's brother." It's like, yeah. So it was like we were both nudging each other for another thing that we didn't think we would know, but we knew. And very cute. But yes, it was. He was fun to see. I can't wait to see him in Peacemaker, a little bit more fleshed out with. Isabella Merced eating popcorn that makes her ass fat, apparently. So, hey, that's what they say. Don't look at me.
It's in the trailer. She said it, not us. But anyway, let's keep going. We have, I think,
although popcorn is very low fat, so I don't think that's the case.
It can't be the only thing. It can't be. But David Cornstarr, John, was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and they were doing this skit where they all had to try to. I guess it's the closest thing to eating hot dogs, except they're just trying to put underwears on. They all had to try to fit as many red underwears on as they possibly could. Some kind of how Joey does that in the Friends episode, where he basically puts on all of Chandler's wardrobe, except it's just underwear, and they're all going on top of their clothes. I couldn't tell who won, but they're definitely giving it the good old college try. One legs or two legs on your head, on your armpits. I don't know, just however you can fit them. There you go. I think that one falls off. This one doesn't count, and he's honest. Yeah, look at him. He's just being Superman even when he's not being Superman. He's like, no, that one fell. I can be such a jerk sometimes. But I just love that again. They've just got him doing more of these appearances. They know this Superman movie, is going to be big, and David Cornstarr is in front of our eyes, becoming a movie star. But let's keep on going. We have a couple other things before we get into some comments from Ron about what he thought of the movie. And I think Frankie also we're talking about the post-credit sequence. But John, let's go to the next thing here. On Instagram. This was kind of funny because apparently, I mean, James Gunn kind of commented on this. Maybe Sid the Duck can be in a sequel. I love one of the comments in there was, "We've never seen Sid, Clark Kent, and Superman in the same room together." So maybe we can get Sid the Super Duck
there
in
it
a
is.
Superman sequel.
There it is. That's the shot.
That's the shot. This was fun.
Very cute.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the next thing. This honestly, you know what it reminds me of?
Star Trek Beyond.
Star Trek Beyond. Yes, I do. Yes, it was
Star Trek Beyond.
Boom.
Just click on it so it goes full screen. I want to see it because you can see the tagline there. It says, "You just have to look at the sun to believe in miracles."
Which, by the way, we would just like to say, don't look at the sun. Don't actually look at the sun. You're gonna burn your corneas out. But I'm just saying,
don't use like one of those polarized, like the glasses. Actually, don't even do that.
I prefer the other tagline for that movie poster that you really liked.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? It was he escaped one star to save ours or something like that. Like that, it was that one. But the poster is good. It's just the tagline is a little bit because
this one.
Yes. Born under another star to protect ours. That's a baller line. The tagline for the other one, I think the poster is better for this one, but the tagline is better for the other one. This because it's like you have to look at the sun to believe. I get like the vibe, but it's just like, don't look at the sun, guys.
It still looks amazing.
Thank you. A little bit late there, Caleb, but we appreciate it. But yes.
Yep. Thank you for picking that up. Yeah, never look at the sun. That's good advice. Never look at the sun. You'll go blind.
Unless, as you said, you have the lenses or the box thing. And,
which even then, I'm like, if you really know your stuff before you, look at
it would be better to be like, you just have to look up to believe in miracles, because then you're bringing in the tagline that was already in the movie, but kind of making your own. So,
Yep. And Chili Chum, just because you asked, I'm going to see if I can send this to you in the live chat. So it's there you go. You can grab the link I just dropped and tagged you in the live chat. Yeah, that one's a great poster. I think the other one, I have to find the link for that one. The preview, the one that we were talking about with the Born on Another Star to protect ours. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, so with that, we have to talk about more Superman, and we'll continue to talk about Superman later in DCU Daily proper. And to answer your question, Chili Chump, we haven't talked about Supergirl yet. We have to talk about Supergirl. We have potentially a hint for the Batman Part 3 already. We've barely gotten to Part 2, but Colin Farrell might have dropped hints that there may already be a Part 3 in the works. So we'll talk about that. But I mean, Ron loves Superman and just saw it's a 9 out of 10. He does have a bit of a complaint about Superman, saying Superman should have flown to Baravia instead of the Justice Gang. I also thought that was like an interesting decision, but it's also the thing of, like, he can't be in two places at one time unless you're watching that one particular cut of Superman 2, which nobody likes. And then the end credit scenes, I don't think they were pointless. They just weren't there to really set up anything, for the future outside of just kind of giving you some little gags. So I realized that you might have been disappointed if you were sitting in the movie theater expecting something more. We didn't want to ruin that for you, that actually the contents of those scenes were released or leaked online a week or two before the movie came out. But, we kept our lips sealed shut for that. Patrick saying, do you think Lex Luthor will wear his power suit in the next Superman movie? That's a really good question, because I would imagine that's the direction they're potentially going, given how fantastical this world is. I don't think, we're in a situation where, I'm skipping ahead there. I certainly think that, this Lex Luthor, if any Lex Luthor ever can or will, he is the one who can go and develop a power suit or come back stronger than ever, and I could see it. I could definitely see it, because this Lex Luthor feels like straight out of the animated series where we have seen that happen before. So good question, Patrick. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. But if there's any more hints about whatever the sequel for Superman ends up being. Caleb saying you don't have to believe in miracles when you look up. to see miracles. Exactly. I mean, this Superman movie, given how it started the opening weekend, slightly lower than we were expecting at the box office, now even going much farther beyond anybody's expectations during the middle of the week. I can only imagine how high this thing can fly now. I mean, I was worried this movie might struggle to get to 700 million, and it may yet struggle to get there, but I certainly feel a lot more confident that we might be getting at least 500 million by even this time next week. A week from now, this movie might be sitting at 500 million and potentially going beyond that. So now the next thing we got to do before we get back to talking about Supergirl, and we have more Peacemaker news, Penguin, Superman the documentary, the Christopher Reeve story. We have some news from that as well. Yeah, pink collar shirt, sure. Would love to see that with Lex Luthor, and there we go. Okay, so right now, before we move on to the next thing, just let us know in the comments down below what you think about Superman's box office potential with the record-breaking Tuesday, the biggest Tuesday of the year so far at the box office. Also, the Monday was the second biggest of the year. So can it actually, get to 700 million? Will it cross 500 million before Fantastic Four even comes out? Let us know in the comments down below. But right now, we have to talk about, there's like 5 different trailers that came out today from movies and TV shows. The biggest trailer of the day, it was easily the Stranger Things 5 trailer. So let's dive into that real quick. I'm gonna take Superman out of there and put this up. So I first saw this in Variety, and look, I watched the trailer. I've seen it 2 times now. You get to see these kids are not even kids anymore. They're in their 20s for one. It's surprising to me because I actually did. I made the mistake of going back and looking at photos from season 1 of Stranger Things, and I was like, whoa. Like, because you know that these kids have grown up. But it's not until you look back and you compare the season 1 pictures to where they are today. Oh my God, it's night and day. But I'm actually excited to see where the show goes now, because this trailer, certainly, John, I want to hear your thoughts, but here's what I got out of it. A, Linda Hamilton. B, I know we're getting it in 3 parts, so I'm excited. I'm like, this looks like they're basically doing another series of movies like they did with the previous season. They also leaned very heavily into all of the sci-fi aspects of it. At this point, they're going all out because the whole town, like, there's no secret anymore of like the upside down. It's everything is just out front. The military's there and all of that stuff. So I like that they're really leaning into that. Like, this now is feeling like a bigger and bigger finale, and yeah, it's kind of weird to know that this is finally coming to an end. And to be quite frank, John, this was very much the first big franchise Netflix ever was able to create. And you could say House of Cards was popular, but no, as far as IP goes, after the creators, the Duffer Brothers, were basically told no by, I don't know, like a million other studios that they pitched this to, Netflix gave them a chance, and boy, did they succeed with this. I know a lot of people in the chat here, Movie Spud, for example, saying the trailer looks amazing, it's awesome. And Caleb saying, I remember when season 1 first dropped and immediately changed pop culture. It literally brought 80s nostalgia back in vogue. And I love the song in the trailer too. So let's talk about the trailer, John. I want to get your reaction. Obviously, I just told you what I thought about the trailer. There's so much to talk about, but it's not coming out for a few more months. I mean, not until around Thanksgiving time. This is our very first trailer. What did you think? What were your standout moments? What are you most looking forward to with Stranger Things 5?
I think it's just one of those things where it's like I've been scorned too many times before where I cannot be excited for this at all. The trailer it looked good. It definitely is bringing everything together. It's going to be extremely awkward with all the kids that look like, fucking 25-year-olds now. So it's going to be mad weird. But I mean, I like, seeing Steve. I like seeing all the characters again. I liked all that stuff, and I'm intrigued with that's what this should be. It should intrigue you. It shouldn't like show you everything, and I am happy for that. But I think
you mean the Duffer Brothers.
Yeah, the Duffer
They
Brothers.
do have a few things in the works, but James Gunn could hire them. I don't know if that's...
honestly, Duffer Brothers for a Teen Titans movie. But I don't care. Like, I just like season 4, like the first episode was fantastic, and then it just shit the bed. It just like immediately went downhill from there. And now it's just like, I just want this to be done and over with. Like
I don't know,
this
man.
show has
I
been
feel
just
like
going on for way too long. Like it should have
it's
ended after like season 2. Like
well,
that's
season
where
two
it should
people
have.
feel like is the worst of the five, at least of the four we
Nah,
have seen so
it's
far.
season 2 for me is the best out of all of them. Season
Really?
1 was phenomenal.
Was it
Season 2
season
was
two or
even
season
better.
three?
Season 3 sucked. Season 4 was even worse. And now
I
we're
love
just kind
season.
of
I
like
thought season four was the best of the season so far.
I just
I
honestly
think you're in the minority there, John.
the only good thing about season 4 was like that guy using the flamethrower and Winona Ryder's side boob. Honestly, the rest of it can kind of fuck off. They wasted Robert
I don't get it,
Englund.
man.
Fuck them. Get out of here. You don't waste Freddy Krueger. Get out of my face. Nah.
I
hell
love
nah.
season 4. I thought it was the best one yet. Season 3 was okay. I think season 2 wasn't terrible, but season 2 was probably the biggest drop off. But it's also like, the second season after the brilliant start, it was hard to follow up because that was the one where they tried to do that whole backdoor pilot where Eleven goes in the city and tries to have this group of friends. Like they wanted to do a spin-off right away and nobody cared for that. But also, John,
I
you
will
see
say that's probably the
towards the end
weakest
here.
episode, but like I don't think it was a bad episode, and I think overall it was a great season. But yeah, I just think like just season 4. It was just like season 4. It just had like hour
I
long.
do watch Reacher, yeah.
Like an hour long, 90 minutes, 2 hours. That's just too much. Like I remember hearing rumors about this, and I hope it's fake. That like is one of the like the series finale is going to be like 4 hours long. It's like going to be the Snyder cut of series finales. It's like, bro, like come on. I hope that's not true.
I'm okay with it because honestly, those Stranger Things episodes that were like 90-minute movies felt better than some of the movies that came out that year. So I'm okay with that, and especially if they divide it up so that we're getting it over the course of like they are like in 3 parts. So I can't wait for this. I don't think Wednesday is meant to be the replacement for it. I think Netflix hasn't quite created a cultural phenomenon like Stranger Things outside of maybe Squid Game, but now Squid Game is done too. So I don't know if Wednesday will take over that status. I mean, also Wednesday is only just getting into season 2, so it's too early to tell. Enterprising saying season 4 is my second favorite after season 1. I think season 4 was like, dude, we got Joseph Quinn out of season 4. He was season 1 is still obviously the first one, and that's where we fell in love with the show. But yeah, I have to say this show finally season 5, 15 years after the first season. It's been a long time coming, and I can't wait to see how the story ends. David Harbour in this looks like he's went through hell, which he has. Winona Ryder, of course, where she started out to where she is now. I mean, remember the career renaissance that she has had because of this show. You look at all these other actors; they've grown up so much. They're literally adults. They were not even teenagers when the show first started. So, yeah. Hey, Smacky is here. You saw F1 just, dude. F1 is still my favorite movie of the year. So,
It's
you let us know
up
what you
there.
thought, man. Yeah.
I agree. Chili Chimp. It's like outside of like
Yeah.
like pretty much for one movie or show to like one out of every like 20 shows or movies is good, and then the rest is just ass. Like sure you get that one show. Like I'm still trying to find Dark on DVD, so when Netflix inevitably goes under, I can still have that like on DVD. But yeah, oof.
I do wonder how much Linda Hamilton's character is going to be in the new season of Stranger Things.
Probably not a lot because she's also filming Resident Alien at the same time.
Yeah, we'll have to. Well, Sinners was good. I think my favorite movie of the year is F1. Sinners is up there for me, but F1.
Yeah, I mean, Superman's top 10, F1's top 5. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, wow, that movie was wow. Sinners is top 10. I will say it's a phenomenal movie. Slightest bit overrated, but not too bad, but still great.
I just wanted to quickly before we move on to the next trailer, John. Look at Millie Bobby Brown. She's married now. And I mean, like 11, right? All grown up. Finn Wolfhard is like in his 20s. The dude was born in 2002. That is ridiculous. He's like almost 23. Look at what they look like when the show first started. Like this is wild. This is back in 2016, like literally 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago from when this show was going to finish. It's kind of crazy. Oh my God. To answer your question, Chili, I don't think Bright is ever getting a follow-up because the first one didn't do very well. I know there were some fans of the
I
show,
do
but
like literally.
yeah.
I just called it one of my favorite movies of the year. I'm just not like saying it's my favorite movie of the year, like a lot of other people are. I just said slightest. I literally gave it like a 9 out of fucking 10. Like fuck off.
Yeah. And that is Chris
but
Pratt because they were
yes,
promoting the Electric State. So
yes.
okay.
Electric State. Woof. Let's not
Yeah.
have a sequel to Bright because it's written by a fucking predator. So let's not deal with that. So yeah.
Anyway, but like
Yeah, I heard
Anthony's saying with
Inside
both
Job
Finn
was
and
great.
Millie.
I never watched it, but I heard Inside Job was great, Caleb. Yep.
Yeah, it was. As far as answering Anthony's question, Finn Wolfhard and Millie Bobby Brown, do you think they would feel better with DC or Marvel? I don't
No.
really know. I think it depends on the character. I can't think off the top of my head where you would bring
I
them
mean,
in.
I know it's easy for
So-
Millie Bobby Brown to be like, "Oh, Raven," like, you know, that would like kind of work, but
Yeah.
I feel like she's too similar to 11 that she would want to kind of separate from the, you know,
I think she
goth
probably wants
psychic kind of character.
She probably wants to like move away from that.
And
Finn
she has the
Wolfhard,
Enola Holmes franchise,
know.
so that's, you know,
Yeah.
they're on that third movie. They're probably going to make another one, so they're probably going to
Yeah.
stick with that. You know, Finn, I could see him as like a couple different people, but not a ton. But again, he's in Ghostbusters, so like they're probably, I don't know if we're ever going to get a third movie out of that, or the technically fifth movie out of that, but I think I mean I could see it. She could probably do it. But
Well,
yeah,
I think
I like
it's
Marvel.
a good
DC, I
idea.
could see any.
There's a Starfire animated show in the works right now, and there's a Teen Titans movie in the live action movie in development. So we'll probably do a fan casting down the road. We'll talk about it. I mean, Finn potentially could be in a Nightwing, and yeah, I think they are still making more Enola Holmes movies. So Millie Bobby Brown is over at Netflix and busy enough just doing those things. But John, I want to get your reaction because I know you saw the trailer. I haven't had a chance to see the trailer for After the Hunt, which is a new, it's about the Me Too movement. You see Julia Roberts. What did you think about this movie? It's got Andrew Garfield and Ayo Edebiri in it. And let us know what you thought about the trailer, the very first trailer for another Luca Guadagnino movie.
It's kind of like Eddington, where it's like I'm curious about it, but and like I like from the vibe of the trailer, it interests me, but I have a feeling it'll go a certain way that I just don't think will be great. But it will be great, but like I like it has the idea of like you don't know who's telling the truth and who's lying. But is that the obvious thing of like we don't know, or is it like it's going to be glaringly obvious it's going to swing in one direction and it's just like automatic hatred direction? So I'm curious about it. I have not seen a single Luca Guadagnino movie. I haven't seen Queer or Challengers or You Call Me by Your Name, whatever the fuck it's called. I haven't even seen his Suspiria remake, even though I've heard it's very good. It's just kind of, I'm curious. I don't think I'll see it in a theater, but it's interesting that it's called After the Hunt when there is like a very similar premise of a movie called The Hunt with Mads Mikkelsen, where it's about a guy who's blamed for something he didn't do, and he gets like raked through the mud in this like small town. So it's kind of, I'm like, is it a sequel to that? Because it's kind of that vibe, and it's just like, no, totally different. It's just has a very similar title. So yeah, I think Andrew Garfield looks good. Julia Roberts, Ayo Edebiri, they all look great in this movie. Like in terms of like from a performance wise, I like Michael Stuhlbarg. It again overall really good cast, but it also feels very your generation. It's like, all right, can we stop having the generations pit against each other? Like we get enough of that in real life and on like Facebook. Then she said, and that was very. I never even heard of that, but yeah, I'm curious about it. I don't know if I'll like go out of my way to see it, but I hope that it's good if I do eventually get up seeing it. But I mean, he's made nothing but bangers. Like it seems like with this, so it's like we'll see.
I mean, Sergeant Rock is still in development, so he's gonna have a busy slate ahead of him. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. But yeah, overall, it's definitely a intriguing kind of movie, which you definitely can't say for the next movie we're going to talk about, Pixar's newest abomination that they just dropped the teaser on.
Really, I thought it was
Facebook.
kind of funny. It's poking fun. Pixar Hoppers is like their next original movie, and
Yeah,
this
and
one,
there's maybe a reason why they're sticking with sequels, because their original movies look or are dog shit. Or beaver shit, I should say. It's literally like, I remember me and my friends, like when we heard like all the news from that like Pixar convention festival thing, whatever the fuck it was, when this was announced, and we were all like, yeah, that's just Avatar. And then they point that out in the trailer, and it's like, pointing out that your movie is a ripoff of another movie isn't exactly the best idea, because it doesn't make you clever. It just points to the fact you're not a good writer. It's like, ever since they fired John Lasseter for hugging, Pixar has gone downhill. Like, I know some of his stuff on the like Skydance Animation hasn't been doing well. I heard Luck and the other one that had Rachel's, like a Spellbound, were like okay but not great. It's just like the I hate the anime. I actively hate this animation. It's like, you made Inside Out 2, and I haven't seen it, but like just from an animation perspective of Elemental, like that animation was so good. And then you just look at Turning Red, and I'm just talking from an animation point of view, not talking about the quality of the movie. The animation, because I've heard Turning Red's a good movie. I'm just saying, from an animation point of view, it looks terrible. I've seen better animation by like college students with like a budget of $5 that they could do better than this shit. Like, I like, even post John Lasseter, we got like good, like Onward, not the best movie ever from what I heard, but like still way better than whatever the fuck. This just looks bad. And it's just like, it looks dumb. It doesn't look funny. It looks like, just, wow, we have fallen so far, and it's just bad. Like,
Well,
it's like,
here's
there's a
the-
reason why they're probably marketing the hell out of their sequels, like Toy Story 5 and Incredibles 3, because that's apparently where all the good ideas are, because all their original movies look terrible.
By the way, I
Like,
disagree. Turning Red, I think, is a fantastic
I never
movie.
saw it.
A-
I just saw Gyrating Panda, and I'm
it-
like, I'm out. I'm
no,
not
there's a lot
watching
more
this.
to it than that. There's a lot of great
But like,
commentary.
it didn't like.
Turning Red, I fully disagree with you, Frankie, on that
people
front,
were
but
like,
yeah.
"Oh, hey, it's not made for straight white dudes." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Then I'm not going to watch it." Oh,
No,
why
but
did
like,
this
no,
do terribly? Yeah, gee, I wonder why.
but John, here's the thing. That's a very narrow-minded approach to that, because I feel like, yeah, there people say that in exaggeration. I wholeheartedly disagree that that was never the narrative around Turning Red. It is goes through a lot of a girl going through her teenage years in middle school, and just
Yeah,
the
it's
anxieties
fine. It's
around
just
that and
not
stuff.
my.
But I'm like, but the thing is, I feel like we live in a world today where we have problems with straight dudes in general, and where they're just not very familiar with that aspect of it. I think it's good to just know more of what the other sex goes through, because that will give you better education on just being a
Yeah,
better
just like,
person.
it's just not my
So I
thing,
think
and
to
I
just kind of
didn't
block
feel
it out was
interested.
the wrong approach. I mean, I might be in the minority in the conversation right now. I think Turning Red was
No,
Oscars
there
level
were great
good.
things
So
about it. It's just, that's not enough
yeah,
for me to go out and watch. I have a ton of
yeah,
movies on my docket that I prefer to watch, and
yeah. Which I
um,
understand is not high up your priority list. That's totally understandable.
yeah,
But yeah, look, as far as making originals versus all the sequels, they have to make sequels because people go to see the sequels, and those sequels help pay for these originals. I'm intrigued by this trailer. Again, the only difference here is, in the past, when we saw the first trailer for Up, give me another one, like before they became franchises, the first Incredibles movie and stuff like that, right? So
mm,
you see, there's a spark in those movies that you just get from the trailer alone. But then you also have movies like Luca, like one of you guys were saying, Luca, a Soul, and Elemental. Their trailers didn't blow us away, but they were amazing movies. So it's gonna be hard. Unfortunately, the problem with Pixar today is they haven't been making just straight out of the ballpark hits, for every movie that they've come out with recently. So their record, like the MCU recently, has been rather spotty, and because of that, we're in a situation now where people don't necessarily trust Pixar to deliver every time out. So that's why I think this trailer for Hoppers, a lot of people look at it as a skeptic, because down the road, the movie comes out, it might be the best Pixar movie in the last 10 years. Who knows? But at least the trailer, I'm intrigued by it. And, while Pixar has competition with DreamWorks Animation and Illumination over at Universal, Sony Animation doing really well, the bad guys, they're got a second movie coming out. And, you have Minions and Shrek coming back next year. So Pixar is still, however, in my opinion, the best ones out there doing it in terms of just overall their batting average still way higher than any other animation studio. But I mean, Coco also, Frankie, another fantastic movie. We'll see how good Hopper is or isn't. It's just this first trailer doesn't do a lot, but it tells you just the basic premise. I got a good laugh out of it though, so I don't know. Let us know what you thought about the trailer for Hoppers, guys. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. But John, we have to move on to talking about probably what's going to be the coolest trailer of the day. Maybe not the best, but certainly the coolest. And it's not even a real trailer, although I guess, it depends on how you define trailer. And that is, of course, Mortal Kombat 2 coming out with their actual first trailer tomorrow, this Thursday. But today, they unleashed basically what was, I guess, a teaser to the teaser trailer, and it featured Carl Urban's Johnny Cage, basically in his own little movie, one of the movies that Johnny Cage has done, and it's Showtime. I love the look of this. I don't know, John, if you have your aviators nearby, but I'm like, this trailer, I'm like, give me that movie. And if this Mortal Kombat movie is as good as advertised, or I mean, not advertised, they haven't really told us much.
Fuck with the cage.
I want to see a Johnny Cage movie. I already want this trailer to be its own movie.
I want to see this over Mortal Kombat 2.
I agree with you. I absolutely do. Yes,
that is true. Everyone hates Cole Young, and this looks fun.
My God.
I mean, Carl Urban. I know everyone was like, "Oh, he's gonna suck as Johnny Cage." Like, he's the most perfect casting for Johnny Cage like ever. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, come on now.
Yep. I'm okay with it. Carl Urban. Yeah, he doesn't look like a spry 25-year-old, but this, by the way, can I just be honest with you? The first reaction I had to watching this looks like a campy Bollywood movie trailer. For like as one of those, I've seen so many of them. You could, if you're familiar with Indian movies, there's many Indian movies that feel exactly like this. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what influenced this. Like
the sunglasses.
Like this whole sequence this feels like something straight out of the Naked Gun movie that's coming out too.
Your ass.
I do remember, Steven, there were rumors. I mean, the director was like the theatrical reactions to the test screenings where people thought this was like Avengers Endgame. Calm down. I don't think we're getting Avengers Endgame, but John with the glasses does look like John Lennon. Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, at least compare me to a Beatle that didn't beat his wife. That would be nice.
By the way, they advertised like 5 other movies he's done, like, Johnny Cage. I want to see every single
cage.
Movie. Yep. It definitely feels like the Tropic Thunder fake trailers, Caleb. That's definitely the vibe that they're going for here. Yeah, it just looks amazing. This looks so good. And then you can clearly tell that's like a miniature that they just shot hanging off a wire and then blew up. And then, of course, Carl Urban.
I get it. Maybe like 30 years ago, he would have made a better Johnny Cage. But like, honestly, it's still awesome. Like, you could tell it looks cheesy for a reason. And I understand, like, oh, he looks awkward. It's like, it's supposed to look awkward because it's supposed to be like he's doing like it's like a stunt double kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep, and you can see it. They're not even hiding it. It's very much let's see, where's the shot? This is right there. That's not the same guy, right? It's it's not meant to look good. So they accomplished the job.
Who is Johnny Cage dating? Your mom. I heard nothing but bad things about it, so I never watched it.
Here's the thing. The first Mortal Kombat movie from a few years ago during the pandemic, it came out like straight to HBO Max, one of those movies. It was enjoyable. Don't watch it for the plot because it barely has one. Like, especially once it gets past the halfway mark, they just skip the rest of the second act and they go straight into the third act. And you're like, okay, all right, well, at least the fights were good. And Hiroyuki Sanada, who we now know, obviously he's done Shogun. He's going to be in season 2 of Shogun. He's part of the John Wick franchise, potentially some of the spinoffs. he was, one of the best parts of that movie. All the fights that he was in they were amazing. Like there's literally a scene where one of the characters freezes ice and then uses that to they freeze the blood of the other guy and then uses the blood icicle to kill the dude he's fighting. It's like the video game combos. They felt like they brought all of those into the game. It was violent. It was, again, not for the plot, but it was enjoyable only if you're just there for the action. I do wish that they had the 90s game and the movie, the theme, the Mortal Kombat, like that. I want to see that in the new movie, especially with Johnny Cage. I feel like that would just work perfectly. Yeah, the dude that played Kano was pretty good. Exactly. Wasn't he the Jimmy Olsen in Supergirl, the dude who played Kano? I think it was Mehcad Brooks.
No, yeah,
right?
You're right.
Yeah,
the guy with the robot arms. Yeah, that's Mehcad Brooks.
He was a Jimmy Olsen in Supergirl.
He was also isn't he in Law and Order now?
I think so. Is he doing his Law and Order service tour that every actor does when they're not getting bigger roles? I do miss that theme too. But John, there was also this fake IMDb page they put together for the Johnny Cage, the actor, and look at all the movies he's done. Caged Rage, Cool Hand Cage, Rebel Without a Cage, The Gist of My Fist, Hard to Cage, Uncaged Fury, the latest movie. Which of these movies sounds like the most fun to you, John?
I don't know. I think the newest one, Uncaged Fury, sounds pretty fucking cool.
And the FAQ section, like you were saying, is so good. How old is Johnny Cage? Cage is just a number. What is Johnny Cage's preferred brand of sunglasses? The expensive kind. Who is Johnny Cage's agent? If you find out, please contact Johnny Cage. You know what? If they had Nick Cage playing this role, that would have been even more meta, but I'm totally okay with Carl Urban doing this.
Mike Coulter, because Luke Cage.
Yeah. That would be a good, maybe I wouldn't mind seeing him in there somewhere. But okay. There was also a poster that they put out. So, usually when they put out a poster, a trailer follows. We talk about that all the time. I know that they actually told us already that not only is this the poster, but also we're getting the trailer tomorrow. So on Thursday, tomorrow's show, we're going to be talking about the first trailer for Mortal Kombat 2. John, do you have any expectations for this? Is this going to be better, or have a?
I don't know. Okay, yes,
feels cohesive.
Okay, I thought Kano was wrong. Yeah, Mehcad Brooks. I know he was in the movie. Forget what characters, but I feel like Kano was wrong. But I might watch this. I don't know if I'm gonna watch the first one.
This looks like an old school Mortal Kombat poster from the 90s too. Yeah.
If it's good, I'll watch it. If it's not, I'll just not watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they plan to do like a trilogy where it's like before, during, and after the tournament. So it's like, all right, what are they gonna fucking do after the tournament? Okay.
I guess we'll find out. Okay, so with that though, John, there's one more trailer that we have to talk about before we move on to the quick hits. I don't know if you have seen this movie yet.
I have not.
The 35th, so this year marks the 35th anniversary of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think the original movie from like obviously 35 years ago, like basically about as old as Top Gun Maverick. Actually, is it 1990? No. What is 35 years ago? In the 80s, right?
It's 1990. 1990.
Okay. All right. 35 years ago was 1990. Holy cow. So they put out a new trailer to mark the 35th anniversary because the movie comes out in theaters next month. Somebody who didn't see it, did you want to go check this out when it returns to the movie theater near you?
If I get it for free with AMC Stubs A-list, sure. If I don't, then probably not.
Did you see? By the way, the poster for this looks good. Let me see if I can pop up the poster on screen for a second. 35th
it's just the original poster with 35th anniversary slapped
Yeah,
on it.
I mean, they're not doing a whole hell of a lot. This is the Fathom Events screening with Warner Brothers Pictures, of course, who made the movie. I know, like, hey, dude, this is no cartoon. It's going to be a good throwback for all the 90s kids out there. Patrick saying, I remember playing the first Mortal Kombat game. It was fun. Yeah. And Frankie saying you loved that movie as a kid. Well, if you have missed seeing it in a movie theater, then here we go. We're going to be getting it for a limited time. So it is certainly better than some of the new ones that have come out. Although I enjoyed the first Michael Bay one, the second one wasn't my favorite. And then the last one that they came out with a few years ago was pretty good too, which I know they're doing a sequel to that as well. So yeah, Secret of the Ooze was pretty good. Yeah, 35 years, movie Spud. It's been 35 years since that movie came out, and we're finally getting it back in theaters for a limited amount of time. So go get your tickets. It might be playing in a theater near you soon. So, and it was surprisingly dark. That's the thing with a lot of people remember it for. So yeah, let us know what you thought about that trailer. Of course, also let us know what you thought about the Mortal Kombat trailer, the Hoppers trailer, that latest Pixar movie we were talking about a few weeks ago. The trailer's now out. It's really a teaser, so we don't get to learn a whole lot in there. But what did you think? Are you excited for the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer that drops tomorrow? How much of Johnny Cage is going to be in there? And then what did you think about, of course, Stranger Things 5? I think the biggest trailer of the day.
Let us know, everybody.
It's gonna be fun.
Is excited.
Cowabunga, dude. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have kind of had ups and downs in their popularity over the years, so we'll have to just wait and see if the new movies get to any level of notoriety beyond just being considered kids movies, because that's what they've been of late. So let us know in the comments what you think, and hit the like button while you're at it. Right now, we're going to switch gears. We're going to get into the quick hits, because we also have to, after that, get back to talking about DC. So here's the Bossa Nova elevator music. John, let's dive into the quick hits. We've got a few of them today, so we got to get about them as fast as we can. The very first one, James Gunn was talking about on this recent podcast he did, promoting Superman. Just the whole process, how things played out for him when he was fired by Disney, and then of course Warner Brothers came asking, hey, you want to do Superman? How about the Suicide Squad? And then he got hired by Disney not that long after. But one of the big things he mentioned here is that personally he really hit a low, and he realized for himself that he was making every movie just so that people would love him. And in that moment when basically everybody in the public sphere had left him, he still had his family next to him, and just people in his life, like also his professional friends from all the actors that were behind him from the Guardians crew, and even Kevin Feige going to bat to hire him back over at Marvel. James Gunn basically said, look, in that moment I realized that I don't have to make all these movies to be somebody that other people love. Like, I can just be myself, and that's enough. Which I think was enough. Ruminating in that way. You don't see James Gunn talking about it himself, or most filmmakers.
Yeah, like being kind of sentimental and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think this was just a surprisingly poignant moment from what was a really great interview. I think this was in the Wrap originally, so you guys can go check this out as part of the Armchair Pod.
Yes,
but yeah, this was a fun watch, and he even came prepared with the Superman costume. So yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
Way to go, Dax.
Way to go. Let's move on to the next thing. We've got some news from across the pond, and if you guys are watching from the UK, then hey, we got some good news, because Sky and ITV have renewed their long-standing content deal, which allows ITV's biggest shows, including Love Island and Trigger Point, to remain on all of the Sky TV platforms in Britain. So if you guys are fans of Love Island and you're a subscriber to Sky TV, then you will still get all of those shows like Love Island and Trigger Point. So there you go. All right, moving on to the next thing. I just wanted to point this out because I know there's a lot of fans out there of those shows. But speaking of Aaron Taylor Johnson, we don't know if he's going to be the next Bond, but we know he's going to be in the next movie from Robert Eggers. Him alongside, of course, Aaron Taylor Johnson and Lily Rose Depp, who
hell to the yes,
Nosferatu, are reuniting with Robert Eggers for his werewolf movie. John, are you excited about this one?
I am stoked. I cannot wait. I love this so much. After Wolfman, my headcanon was Robert Eggers wants to go see that movie. He's like, all right, I got to show everyone how to make a werewolf movie, because clearly this motherfucker didn't know how to make one. So I got to make one now. So boom, he's going to drop it like it's hot.
Yeah, he's one of the best filmmakers working in the game right now.
That's an understatement.
We did a tier list. He was on there. Let's go on to the next thing. And we were talking about recently, Kumail Nanjiani, is it going to be Booster Gold? Well, he might be. We just don't know yet. But he's also making his Broadway debut soon. Him, as in Kumail Nanjiani, alongside Michael Urie, are both set to join the cast of Broadway's Oh, Mary. John, if you can scroll down a little bit here, we have a few more details. They're actually coming in as, they're replacing some actors who were previously in the play. And it looks exciting. I mean, you got Booster Gold, and then Michael Urie has been a few things as well. He's in Shrinking on Apple TV Plus, and then he's also been on Broadway before. But this would very much be Kumail Nanjiani's first time on Broadway, so I'm excited to see what comes of this. Yeah. If you're a fan of Broadway, Yeah, I'm
I
sure
mean,
you're
Michael
excited.
Yuri is a legend from what I know. So yeah.
Yep. Moving on to the next thing. A few more,
Oh. Your boy.
Yeah. My pick to be the next James Bond, Jack Lowden, another great Scott actor, following in the footsteps of somebody like a Sean Connery, hopefully down the road. He is set to star in another Apple. He's already, of course, got a show on Apple TV Plus with Slow Horses, which just got renewed for season 6 before season 5 even premieres. Oh no, season 7. They got renewed for season 7, and season 5 isn't even out yet. Anyway, so Jack Lowden, clearly he's popular with the folks over at Apple because he's now set to star in a drama series based on the Berlin noir books from Playtone, Apple, and Peter Strahan, and of course Tom Shanklin is set to direct. You see him on the right there. John, is this something that interests you? Have you ever read those Berlin noir books?
Never heard of them.
I mean, it fits right within the Slow Horses.
I just realized that they screwed up the headline. It says "and Peter Strahan."
Peter, yeah, it's the whole double. I tried to read past it, but anyway, I'm excited. I want to see what this becomes. I'm getting into a lot of spycraft shows lately. Slow Horses, of course, is one of them. I have to watch the latest season of Reacher, and then of course we also have The Agency coming back over on Paramount Plus soon with season 2. Let's keep on going though. We have a few more casting pieces of news. Casting shows getting greenlit. Ariana Grande and Josh Gad are set to lead Dr. Seuss's Oh, the Places You'll Go animated movie, which of course John M. Chu and Jill Colton will direct for Warner Brothers, a musical that is being produced by J.J. Abrams, adapting Dr. Seuss's final book. What do you think about this one, John? Does this interest you at all?
Don't care. Especially if it has Josh Gad and with how
Josh Gad
looks.
I did hear that Ariana Grande recently said that she's still going to be focusing on her music despite all the movie roles she's picking up. Don't worry. She was talking to her fans like, don't worry, I'm still making music. But then again, Rihanna stopped making music. She's making movies now, like Smurfs. So moving on to the next thing. Michelle Monaghan, John, she's set to join John Cena and Eric Andre in Netflix's comedy Little Brother. Does this combination of actors interest you? And
yes, I love Michelle
well.
Monaghan, I love John Cena, and I love Eric Andre. So 3 great actors. Yeah, whatever.
We'll see. It's a Netflix show. Netflix does shows well, so we'll see.
We'll see.
Yep. Moving on to the next thing.
Yes,
we've got Andor's Gabriel Luna. Not Gabriel
Taylor
Luna.
Kitsch. I remember him from like 20 years ago.
John Carter. Well, he was recently in that show with Chris Pratt on Amazon Prime. But Diego Luna, I said Gabriel Luna, which is not different actor. Although they might be related. Anyway, so Diego Luna going off of Andor, now he's set to star opposite Taylor Kitsch in a hostage thriller, 11 Days. John, does this interest you? I think I saw this a couple of days ago and just resurfaced today. I'm excited for this. Taylor Kitsch is having a bit of a renaissance on television these days. What do you think?
I hope it's
he
good.
was Gambit.
I mean, yeah, for 5 seconds. But we don't talk about that. Diego Luna, great actor. Taylor Kitsch, I think he was a good actor. Yeah. My heart. What? Am I having a heart attack right now? What? Huh?
I don't know. That maybe it was a comment about a previous.
I'm okay. I'm not having a heart attack. I'm fat and I eat like shit. Don't scare me like that. All right.
Angelica is good to see the next Dr. Seuss movie because John M. Chu is directing it, which I don't blame you for that at all. As far as whether this project is live action, I think you mean the Dr. Seuss one, John. If you go back to the Dr. Seuss one, we can scroll down and take a look. I'm pretty sure this one was. Oh, scroll up. Sorry, scroll up a little bit. I'm pretty sure this one is animated because it's coming from Warner Brothers Pictures Animation.
It says, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. It's an animated
But
movie.
here's the thing.
I mean, yeah, J.J. Abrams involved, but I mean, John M. Chu's got a good record. I, for one, can't wait for 11 Days. That's a good combination of actors, and I've seen a lot of their. I mean, between Andor and I keep forgetting the name of the show on Amazon Prime that Taylor Kitsch is a part of. They actually did a prequel spin-off that he's doing as well right now. So, anyway, let's keep on going to the next one. Diego Luna is having a moment.
Possibly the new America's Daddy. We'll see.
Well, at least Mexico. Maybe Mexico's daddy. So. Taylor Kitsch did have a lot of high-profile flops, although I will forever defend Taylor Kitsch in Battleship, a movie that made no money but I still think is one of the best movies that I've ever seen. But anyway, Millie Bobby Brown, we were talking about with Stranger Things season 5 being the final one. Well, she's also got a full slate of other projects, including one with Gabriel LaBelle to star in a rom-com for Netflix called Just Picture It. John, can you picture it? Can you picture these two in a rom-com?
Yeah, I mean, both are good, charismatic actors. I wouldn't watch it. I'm not a rom-com guy, but yeah. I think
good for Millie Bobby Brown. She's got a million different things at Netflix. She's gonna be at Netflix.
All right, anyway, rom-com. Fuck that shit. Ryan Gosling. I care about that.
Hey, enough. Ryan Gosling and Will Ferrell are set to star in an action comedy.
The Guys movie that I wanted Ryan Gosling to be in, but I'll take it.
So, I guess this is not the Nice Guys Part 2, but Tough Guys for Amazon.
Ironically, both have been in buddy cop movies that feature guys in the title. So very interesting.
The other guys, the Nice Guys, and now the Tough Guys.
Joining the two, is Mark Wahlberg and Russell Crowe gonna cameo in this shit? Like,
can you scroll down a little bit, because they do give you a little bit more on the movie itself. So
a spec script. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's coming up as spec script. The story follows two henchmen who are tired of being disposable and break free from the criminal underworld, rewriting the rules as they build a new life on their own terms.
Has got
hilarity and really, I'm sure.
I am really curious, because usually, like, Will Ferrell's over the top and Ryan Gosling is the over the top. Like, they're both not the straight man. So is Ryan Gosling going to be the straight man, or is Will Ferrell going to be the straight man?
I would say Ryan Gosling probably.
Ryan Gosling is probably, but like, wouldn't it be funny if like Will Ferrell like subverted expectations and he was the straight man? That would I would see that immediately, because that's very against Will Ferrell. So you know,
I mean, if you go back up to the headline,
I think this will be great.
I just wanted to kind of comment on, I mean, Will Ferrell obviously, you know, has been a big star for a long time, and Ryan Gosling himself is a big star anyway. But John, like you said, this looks great, and quite frankly, between this movie and The Last Starfighter, or not The Last Starfighter, Star Wars, The Last Starfighter, as well as, you know, Project Hail Mary, it feels like, you know, it's Ryan Gosling's world and we're just living in it. Like this, he's got so many high profile projects lined up, and I can only imagine he's gonna be probably one of the highest grossing actors at the box office in the coming years. So I wonder which of these will end up being the best one, whether it's Starfighter for the Lucasfilm, or Project Hail Mary, which is also an Amazon project. So Ryan Gosling, you know, in the house of Amazon MGM. So he is literally Knuff. Absolutely. I agree with you there. All right, moving on to the next one. Joan Rivers is getting her own documentary. Of course, the late great Joan Rivers, a documentary from Passion Pictures and the Media Pro Studio in the works. Would you watch this, John? I mean, she was endlessly entertaining, and I imagine her documentary will have some crazy stories about her.
The thing is, I don't know enough about Joan Rivers to really. Maybe this is the portal into that world, but I just don't know enough, and because I don't really. I respect her a lot as a comedian who had an uphill battle when she was popular. She was a woman. She was in an industry that was mostly male dominated. So she had that uphill battle, which is very interesting. So maybe they touch upon that in this documentary and make it like extremely interesting. So with that, I think that is definitely a, you know, interesting part. So I might watch it because of that, but I just don't know a ton about Joan Rivers and don't really know her comedy so maybe it is for me, maybe it isn't, I don't know. But if like my parents are like, oh hey, let's watch this documentary, I'll be like, yeah, sure, why not?
I can't wait for it. This will be fun. I'm sure there will be a lot of fun. There'll be some archival footage of Joan Rivers herself. I can't wait for that. So anyway, let's keep on going here. The next article. Yeah, I mean, Miss Maisel was loosely based on Joan Rivers, and look where Rachel Brosnahan is today. All right, John. So talking more about James Gunn, he was recently named IMDb's fan favorite filmmaker. Are you surprised that this man who just basically lives online, like, is he the new Zack Snyder, or is he something more?
I don't know. Just the first thing I thought of when I saw this, I could just see my friend who absolutely despises James Gunn with every fiber of his being. He would probably see this, and I know he'd say, "I didn't vote for him," like, you know, just like that kind of vibe, because he's definitely.
I'm sure the majority voted, and that's how he won. Yeah,
no, I know.
Winning
I just think this. That's just like how I immediately thought of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he deserves it, considering like every superhero project he has ever made has been like popular, well received, well made, all the things, like critics and audiences love it. So yeah, good.
And he's only going to be at home for maybe a day before he's back out promoting Peacemaker and the Comic-Con and everything. So he's working hard, man. Okay, let's keep on going to the next thing. This was kind of interesting, John. I know you're kind of tapped out on Star Wars these days.
Yeah, no, but this is the original stuff.
This is the original. Yeah, Darth Vader's main lightsaber set it's set for auction, I should say. The lightsaber that was used in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi is soon to hit the block from prop stores. So it's a rare opportunities for Star Wars fans. Would you get in the bidding for this, John? I mean, I don't even know. Like, you're talking
I can fucking
millions
afford
of
this
dollars.
Shit? Come
The
on.
lightsaber from the original
here.
trilogy of movies that Darth Vader used in Star Wars.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
I'd love it, but this thing's probably going to go for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like,
maybe the millions. I'd imagine. Yeah, if Ron wins the
Ron,
lottery,
I would if I won the.
There you go.
Like, this would be like, you know what? When the inevitable headline is like, "Oh, Darth Vader's lightsaber sells for da 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 da," and then
record $16 million or something.
Yeah, like I could see like the caption, which is kind of a meme right now, is like, if I won the lottery, you wouldn't know. I wouldn't tell anybody, but there would be signs, and it would just be that headline. This thing sells for millions of dollars. Like, there would be signs.
Yes,
there would be signs.
You just
for
have
me
this,
and Ron. There would be signs.
This lightsaber sitting on your shelf. Like, where did you get that from? Oh, I don't know. I was at an auction last weekend.
Like one of those fancy ones from that, that site. They're like, wow, it almost looks.
Cool. Well, hey, I wonder what the headline will be next whenever it actually gets sold. But John, we have the final runtime for the Fantastic Four. Now, getting into some Marvel news, it looks like it's less than 2 hours, which makes it one of the shortest in the MCU. So that is the shortest. The shortest since the Marvel.
The shortest Marvel film.
1 hour and 55 minutes. It's actually kind of closer to the Naked Gun runtime than most Avengers movies, certainly. So.
Yeah. Honestly,
I wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
You know what? Sometimes I was like, but like, you know what? If it cuts the fat and we get streamlined into the action, which is kind of like what Superman was, like, just, boom, 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 boom. I'm cool with that. Like, just cut the fat, like, inundated with bullshit. Like, no, just like, bam. I could, if it works for the storyline, then I'm all for it. It's not like it's like 80 minutes long. That would be worrying, but it's a little bit under 2 hours, but that's not too bad. So yeah, I think if it works, it works.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, we'll talk about it when we get there.
And look, I know that when they cut it down under 2 hours, they did cut out a few significant things, one of which we'll talk about in a little bit. Yeah, exactly. As long as it's a good movie, that's all we really care about. So moving on to the next piece of news from the Fantastic Four. I mean, they've already got a bunch of merch out there, including some new pair of
limited stock, 6 minutes. So if you want to get your Fantastic Four shades, you got 6 minutes, guys.
Yeah. I don't know if they have prescription options or not, but they look pretty fantastic.
I don't know.
I can't tell. Maybe
I don't think so,
versions. Okay. All right. Well, they're polarized, so it helps with the sun. Don't look at the sun.
$88. You can get blue, or you can get Johnny Storm orange. But yeah, they got the Mr. Fantastic lenses and then the Human Torch.
I'm sure Horatio would love these.
Who?
CSI Miami. You don't know CSI Miami?
No, I don't.
You didn't get that reference?
Oh, the redheaded guy?
The reference?
Yeah. Like, okay, I got it. Yep.
But just come up with a random pun, like, this scene almost looks too fantastic.
It says here, not available online, but like can be fit with RX lenses by local optician. So you can get them, but you just have to go through your ophthalmologist. So, yeah.
Ron is like, I'll get the Invisible Woman shade. Okay.
Yeah. I'm wearing my Invisible Woman shades. Can you tell?
Can you tell? I don't know. AKA contact lenses. Moving on to the next thing. We have one more thing from Fantastic Four right now, which is, of course, the popcorn bucket over at Cinemark. Liz sent this over to us because she loves her popcorn buckets. And if you go to a Cinemark, kind of like the crypto one, which is actually has a little platform it rotates on. They've got one for the Fantastic Four with Mr. Fantastic. So it looks nice.
Out, and then there we go.
There we go. Yeah, I'm sure Scott Summers will load her up here at Enterprising. This looks fun. I hope we get others.
The music playing in the background offers more of the score. So yeah, that's.
I'm gonna listen to it later after the show. Yeah, I can't wait for the full soundtrack for this movie. Anyway. Oh yeah, Ron telling us he bought the Superman popcorn bucket. Which one did you get? I got that one at Regal. Tell us which one you got. But hey, speaking of how they got this movie down to under 2 hours, John, it looks like they cut out John Malkovich, who was set to play the Red Ghost. And as it turns out, the reason why they cut him from the movie is his character was meant to be in the first act, sort of showcasing some of the early adventures of the Fantastic Four. And the director of the movie, Matt Shakman, saying it was heartbreaking to not include him in the movie. The AMC one is really good, Ron, for the Superman. Send us a photo.
Yes.
Get in our DMs on Instagram or something, and we'll bring it up on the show. But okay, actually, I should not have put it on screen. But John Malkovich, John, if you skip across to the next article in Variety where they're talking about it in more detail, I just thought this was kind of not heartbreaking, like Matt Shakman said. I thought it was ironically funny because how John Malkovich bragged about how he.
I never accept a Marvel movie. The one he accepted, he gets fucking cut.
Yeah, I'm like karma,
you, John Malkovich.
It's karma. Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige is laughing all the way to the bank when this movie makes all the money.
To be fair, John Malkovich is laughing all the way to the bank too because he got to star in a movie, didn't even show up in the movie, and still got paid. So look who's laughing. But whatever, I still think it's fucking hilarious.
Man, bro had his Marlon Brando moment.
Oh, come on.
Okay, but that was a different situation.
Compare John Malkovich.
Different situation. It's not the same.
John Malkovich at least didn't R anybody on screen, so there's that.
It's not too late to cut because nowadays these movies, and for all we know, this was done a while ago. Because remember, we have been speculating. John, if you want to scroll up a little bit on this article, we've been speculating about John Malkovich being cut from the movie for a few weeks now. Remember when they first started?
Because it was like they cut him and then they brought him back in and then they cut him again. So it's like,
it seems like they've been experimenting with the idea of not having his character in there to begin with. What was also interesting about this is because they imply, at least Matt Shakman kind of mentioned in his interview, that this movie covers quite a few years of the Fantastic Four's career. So unlike Superman, which takes place over the course of just a few days, I wonder if that's going to be to the benefit or to the disadvantage of this movie, because they're trying to cover a lot of ground. Like they're going to cover the origin of this team as well as baby Franklin Richards being born, and then eventually getting to the Galactus situation. And I imagine by the end of the movie we're somehow connecting everything to Doomsday. So I hope that with the 155 55 minutes, I should say, they have enough time in there to play everything out. But maybe this will be the deleted scenes. And that's a pretty big FU to John Malkovich, who finally shows up in a Marvel movie and they cut him. God, that's great. That's great. Swag Fan is here. Hi, guys. Look up. Absolutely, man. All right. So moving on to the next thing, John. We got to keep the quick hits going.
Yes, gotta keep those quick hits quick. Ew,
whether this movie is going to revitalize the MCU, though, or not, I'm not sure, John. But as far as movies that are going to be coming out at TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, which is one of the biggest festivals of the year, it now includes a lineup that has Knives Out 3 and Chloe Zhao's next movie since Eternal. She's finally back doing a feature called Hamnet, and Channing Tatum's Roofman, which you remember watching the trailer for that couple of weeks ago.
That looks good. Hamnet, is that related to Hamlet?
I have no idea actually, but this looks fun. It looks interesting. We'll see.
Let me see if it's it says Shakespearean drama. So
okay. Well, there you go. It's a riff
related
on
to Hamlet.
There we go. Got it. Yep. Well, TIFF is a big
Clive
festival.
Owen?
I can't tell.
Clive Owen.
Maybe. Well, it is Knives Out 3, so they have an all-star cast. I'd imagine wouldn't be all that far-fetched.
I don't really care. I'm not gonna watch this shit.
And hopefully Chloe Zhao does have a bounce back year with this movie. I agree with the Enterprising. I think Eternals was just
I can't wait to talk about what's next because Jesus Christ.
As far as Steven, sorry, your question quickly, do we have awards contenders? I haven't been able to really dig into it too much yet, but we'll go over that as we get closer to the festival. And then quickly to answer Anthony's question, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes are both in the upcoming Street Fighter movies. There you go. I could see them. And already we have seen, John Cena. He's doing his farewell tour in WWE. He's Peacemaker. So there you go. And of course, Dwayne Johnson was Black Adam. So you've got lots of
We don't talk
superheroes.
about that.
Anyway, moving on to the next thing that John is excited to talk about.
Just because of how hard Hannah Waddingham fucking roasts. Just like, this
And she's
is
not the
brutal.
No, she's not the first one to do it either. I feel
I know,
like
Brett
everybody.
Goldstein said it too.
Yeah. I just don't understand it. Is Apple dragging these guys kicking and screaming back for another season of Ted Lasso?
Kicking and screaming. Get it?
I see. Yes, I made a pun.
Speaking of Will Ferrell and speaking of soccer.
But she recently talking about season 4 of Ted Lasso, saying coming back for season 4 of the show is like a beloved dog that was buried and now we've exhumed it. And if you go down after she says that, she kind of like turns everything upside down. She says, look, I was hankering to see where Rebecca had gone, where she was going to. She's my girl. She's in my bloodstream. So I'm thrilled that it's been exhumed. Is that just that, that dry British humor, or is she actually
possibly
excited?
I mean, it's
Like,
possible
I
that
can't
it's
tell.
we exhumed it. Like, I could definitely see them doing that, but maybe once this comes back, I'll watch. You know what? Once I get on the show, I watch all 3 seasons. Oh, that was great, and then I watch this, and it's dog shit. So it's like, all right, well, I came in at the wrong time.
And also, there's going to be a big change because now he's coaching a women's team, like Ted Lasso in the show. So I think it's not like it's going to feel like a direct continuation. Like season 4 almost goes in a different direction.
Hope is back on the menu thanks to Superman. So like Ted Lasso, I think is going to fit right back into.
Yeah, we live in a world where hope is cool again. So there you go.
Yeah,
Ted Lasso held it down while Superman was away. So, all right, moving on to the next thing. We've got some more James Gunn stories, I think here, right? So, James Gunn recently was on CBS Mornings. He did a feature before the movie came out. He did another interview after the movie. He was asked like, how do you feel now that the movie is out? He's like relieved, and he feels relief because Superman did well at the box office. It did well with the audiences and with critics. And he said, look, he's been on the other end of the spectrum where like sometimes his movies only did well with the audiences but not at the box office. Sometimes only did well with the critics and not with audiences. So to check all 3 boxes, he's relieved because it's fortunate, and it doesn't happen very often that a movie does all of those things. So what do you think about that, John? Do you think you agree with James Gunn's overall take on the matter?
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. I mean, he said, like, again, when you think it's going one way, it goes another. It's so unpredictable, but it's nice that this is in a good place. It's in a good,
Yep.
It landed where it needed to land.
Absolutely. All right. And then moving on to the next thing, a couple of more James Gunn things to finish out the quick hits. Like I mentioned before, he was on the Late Night with Seth Meyers, and this was one of the last few stops on his press tour for Superman. And then when you move on to the last quick hit here, John, it looks like James Gunn, he's just finished up his press tour a day ago now, being on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz. So he says there on his board, I'm James. This is the end of my press tour. So he hopes to now go and rest for a day or two before he's back at it with Peacemaker season 2. I'm sure he's still editing Peacemaker season 2, so he's part of that as well. So he's not going on vacation anytime soon. But
no,
are you glad that finally James Gunn is done with what seemed like months long press tour for Superman?
Yes. You can finally shut up and get some fucking sleep. Maybe Jennifer Holland can lock his fucking phone away, and he'll just focus on what he needs to fucking focus on. Goddamn.
He certainly didn't do that today, though. Speaking of which, we'll get into that right in a hot second. But until then, guys, let us know what you thought about all of those news items, the James Gunn stuff. What did you think about Fantastic Four? They cut out John Malkovich after, I don't know, like he said yes for the first time in 20 years of Kevin Feige trying to get him into a Marvel movie, and then he ends up cutting him out. Not that, Kevin Feige made the decision, but maybe he was part of that. Let us know what you thought about the quick hits and the news. We'd love to hear from you. If you guys are still watching, if you're watching live, hit the like button. We really do appreciate that. It's one little click for you guys. It helps us out a ton. And of course, if you're new, we are here doing this 5 days a week, and we're not done here. We're not anywhere close to being done, because right now it's time to get back over to talking about some DC news. We've got some Batman news potentially on the Batman Part 3. We haven't even gotten Part 2 yet, but Part 3, Colin Farrell was talking about it. Of course, the Penguin nominated for basically 24 Emmys, and then beyond that, we have to talk about some news from Supergirl, James Gunn. Speaking of which, he's still busy on social media, and so much more from the world of DC, including the latest from the world of the new Superman movie that is basically growing an entire DCU from nothing. So let's talk about it. And on the other side of this new DCU Daily intro, which, of course, much like James Gunn would like to say, is blessed from the start.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
Colin's right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
All right, it's time for DCU Daily, so welcome on into another episode of DCU Daily. If you guys have been watching the full show today, then we've already talked about a bunch of Superman, we talked about a bunch of James Gunn stuff, but now we're going to dive into some of the other bits and pieces, and well, more than just bits and pieces that we haven't got into yet. So, as I usually do at the very beginning of DCU Daily's, every episode, John, what are you most looking forward to today on DCU Daily?
If I had to pick one of the many things you've chosen, I'm excited to talk about, the Becks getting some love, talk about a little bit of Peacemaker, and, I also got to talk about that big Supergirl news, so that's always fun.
We already got folks in the chat. Patrick saying, I'm hopeful Superman will still make $1 billion. Fingers crossed. It's off to a good start and is doing well in the middle of the week. We'll just have to wait and see if that translates into $1 billion or not. I would still say that's an optimistic estimate, but Superman keeps soaring, so we'll see. As we like to say, my understanding is Peter and James, or James and Peter, did go to China to promote the movie. Yes, movies, but they did. Actually, we had photos from that promotional tour stop that they made in Beijing just last week. I want to say if you go back and watch last Thursday's show, that's where we talked about it. So. Yeah, and everyone's saying DC's back, all right, Backstreet style. Yeah, actually, the Backstreet Boys are back as well. They're in Las Vegas at the Sphere doing their concerts there, so I'm sure. Yeah, miracles can happen. It's very true. And Anthony asking us, what were you guys' opinion on the crypto interactions with the androids in a Fortress of Solitude? Care to add to that, John? What do you think about crypto and the robots, the Superman robots?
Sorry, my webcam isn't on. Yes, no, very cute test footage. Very cute. What little we saw of it in the movie. Very nice to see. I agree, Ron. I agree. But Backstreet's back. Oh, my back.
Look, I love crypto in this movie. I love the Superman robots even more than... look, the Superman robots, a lot of the jokes didn't land for me, Anthony, but until the last one. And then, anytime crypto was on screen, that was my favorite part of the movie. So I definitely think that those, especially crypto, stole the show. Working with Superman, his trusty sidekick, and even following him into the pocket dimension and helping rescue Superman along the way. And then being a big part of the third act with the whole brains versus bronze moment. So... with that, though, John, let's get into the first piece of news from the world of DC. Actually, I'm going to go to the wrong screen here. There we go. Let me go to your screen. James Gunn, in case you missed it, over the course of the promotional tour for Superman in one of the red carpet events, John, I think I mentioned this before, but I just want to bring this back up because I feel like it might have gone buried in all the other Superman news, because James Gunn did mention in one of the interviews he did that Superman is very different from the Sergeant Rock movie we are developing. It's very different from Supergirl, which is a space fantasy. And we're going to talk about Supergirl later in the show because of what James Gunn dropped from that movie today. And before we get there, this feels like the first time James Gunn has outright addressed Sergeant Rock. Until now, even at the press events earlier in the year, he was just kind of being like, we can't really say much. Like, we never said that it was official. But this is the first time he's sort of said, yes, it's happening. It's still in development. So it looks like it's not indeed canceled. It is on hold till next summer. What do you think about the idea that James Gunn is now outwardly talking about it? Does that mean they've had a big breakthrough, or like they're more sure of it than ever? The fact that he's mentioning it now and kind of taking ownership of the fact that it's not just rumor and hearsay. We're actually going to bring a Sergeant Rock movie into the DCU.
In regards to Sergeant Rock, I think I'm glad he addressed it, because I think this is all right. I think it's good that he did, because it's like I feel like there were so many people. It comes unfortunately, it comes a little bit too late, because everybody was like, "Oh, it's canceled! Oh, it's canceled! Oh, it's canceled!" And then they moved on. But like, I feel like James Gunn couldn't talk about it because like he was busy with Superman, so he's like, I can't really talk about that. But now that Superman is done and Peacemaker season 2 is kind of done, he can finally like say this, like, "Hey, it's still in development," but now kind of nobody really cares, and it kind of got buried. So now people think it's like Sergeant Rock isn't happening, and then when they read this, it's, oh, he's backpedaling, or it's just like, no, it was never officially canceled, it was just delayed. It's just people like say all this bullshit and then eat it up, and then unfortunately we get this little bit too late, and it's still happening. So it kind of blows in that respect, but hopefully people will notice this, because it's definitely a really great idea for a movie. So yeah.
I hope this turns into something good. I mean, and last we heard, Colin Farrell was attached to this, and we're going to be talking about Colin Farrell a little bit later. But I hope that if they are indeed bringing him into this whole franchise that could potentially become that, they don't waste his time, because he's a busy man these days. Now, to answer the question, I think Patrick was asking. No, MTG was asking. He feels like Superman's box office might have been hurt. In fact, maybe the box office for Fantastic Four and Jurassic World might also be affected by the fact that all three movies were only like weeks apart. I would say in the summer months, there's usually enough money to go around that all three can do well. And it's just a matter of these days, there's not enough
pretty
much
sure Superman
money at the box office, and
I'm pretty
not
sure
as many
Superman
people
was
are going.
first. That was the one I heard about first. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Superman first, because they rushed.
Well, Fantastic Four also got moved around a few times because
they got moved around a
whole
few times
Marvel
because like
schedule
they've been
shuffle. So
they've been shuffling, but
yeah,
I mean,
luck
Superman
on your
was
flight,
definitely the
MTG.
first one to lock down that
yeah.
release date. Jurassic World was rushed into it because they're like, oh yeah, let's do this movie, and then like a year later it comes out, so it's like that was rushed to hell. And then with Fantastic Four, that was moved around so much that like, yeah, I think.
Well, I think the problem is in the fact that they have all three movies coming out in the same month. Usually the summer movie season, especially July, has enough money to go around for all movies. I think this is more reflective of the fact that not as many people are going to the movies these days. So all three movies are making less money, not because they're getting in each other's way. It's more just not as many people go. But yeah, I mean, hey, MTG is on his way to a flight. He's actually waiting for his flight. So have a safe journey, MTG, and we're glad that you're watching us while you're waiting for your flight. Enterprising saying, I wish Fantastic Four came out around Thanksgiving. Maybe. I mean, we'll have to just wait and see. I still think they're not in a bad place with where they are located on the July release calendar. So that's not such a bad idea. As far as the Wonder Woman animated series, though, Enterprising, they are working on the Wonder Woman script. It's not animated, and I'm quite frankly okay with that because I want to see Wonder Woman on the big screen as much as possible. I'm sure they would give us something animated down the road. James Gunn wouldn't be opposed to that. I just rather them focus on something live action first. So. But as far as it not getting our own animated show, I don't know. Like I'm sure there was in development at one point. I don't believe anything, made it far enough. Obviously, Wonder Woman had multiple TV shows, including ones that never got past the pilot stage. But I personally prefer to see her on the big screen. So anyway, but I'm glad that Sergeant Rock is in development, man. As long as it's a good movie, whenever they come out with it, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So do you think they moved on from Daniel Craig because I thought he was the one that James Gunn? Yeah, no. So it was months ago we heard, Anthony, that Colin Farrell was the leading person, the leading actor for the role in the movie. He in fact was pretty much all but confirmed to be the lead in the Sergeant Rock movie before they not shelved it but delayed it until next summer. And Daniel Craig actually, before Colin Farrell's name got attached, Daniel Craig passed on it to go play I don't know what character in the next Narnia movie. So Daniel Craig said no before Colin Farrell got attached. So
yeah.
And I agree with you, Anthony. I think all of these movies, while they're targeting similar audiences, there are some differences. So, like Superman, I think plays better for an entire family audience, whereas Jurassic World maybe a little too horror, heavy. Fantastic Four, obviously, all also playing towards the family idea. So, anyway, John, as you were seeing on the article here, the DC Universe's first big movie villain, which we know is Ultraman, and we are talking spoilers today. You can see that in the ticker down below. There was a sequence in the third act of the movie where once the Superman kind of kicks him back into the pocket dimension, we see Ultraman kind of falling into a black hole that's within that pocket dimension that's meant to be a rift between two universes that Mr. Terrific talks about. Obviously created by Lex Luthor, so being a really reckless scientist that he is.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible now that Ultraman, you have speculated that he's not dead. He's not quite dead yet.
Mm-hmm.
In this article, they talk about there's potentially 4 characters that Ultraman can come back as. Let's kind of go through them real quick because I think it's kind of interesting to see all the possibilities. Do you think that he comes back as the proper DC Ultraman from the comics, like the alternate universe version of Superman that's like evil Superman?
It's possible, but the thing is, he's like really dumb, so I can't imagine, because Ultraman is a pretty smart villain in the comics, so like I can't imagine that it's gonna be, I can't imagine he's gonna, unless he like does something, do something to his mind that makes him smart, like fucking flowers for Algernon or something, then I can't imagine he will become full-fledged Ultraman unless they dumb that character down, which I don't think is going to be the case. So
yeah, it's a bit of a stretch for them to go from the character being barely able to talk on his own to becoming an Ultraman. Although you never know. Maybe, he spends a lot of time developing his cognitive abilities and then becomes Ultraman. But John, there are 3 other possibilities here. So let's go to the next one that the Screen Rant was talking about. Interesting article because they also do give you some context into the comic book iterations of these characters. So the next option we have is, it looks like, maybe the clone of Superman could become Cyborg Superman. Because considering he probably got damaged quite a bit from the fight with Superman at the end and then going to the black hole. What do you think about that idea?
I like it, but again, that results in something. It results in something that's that then like Death of Superman will have to be teased, because Cyborg Superman only comes in after Death of Superman. So he's like in the Return of Superman, like him, Superboy, and the Eradicator all come in as replacements for Superman, but like they all have like dark backstories. So I can see them doing this, but considering that both versions of Cyborg Superman wouldn't work with this character, I don't think they're going to do that. And because Hank Henshaw becomes cyborg, like he gets his mind gets transferred to this body and like he gets resurrected and like that whole thing. And then recently they introduced Zor-El as a Cyborg Superman, so, and that's the more recent version, so I am and not connected to Death of Superman, so I imagine I could see them going with the Zor-El route, especially when David Krumholtz, who's a pretty big actor but not like huge, could possibly get buff and become Cyborg Superman. So obviously we'll see, but like I can't imagine this either.
All right, and then there's a couple of more options here to get into. I think one of the more obvious ones, well, less obvious ones, I should say, Superboy Prime. Do you think we can see Superboy Prime as the return of Ultraman?
No, this is probably the least likely out of all of them, because Superboy Prime is from our world. Like Superboy Prime in the comics comes from Earth Prime, which is essentially the real world, but they somehow got a Superman. So you know, I feel like the people who fucking made this like don't know anything about comic books, because literally none of these makes. I mean, the only reason that Ultraman was mentioned, like the Crime Syndicate, is because that's who they got the name from. So I'm like, okay, at least that kind of makes sense. But Cyborg Superman doesn't make sense. This really doesn't fucking make sense. You're just taking the most basic, like surface level thing when it comes to this specific character and making it like, oh, because he got beat by Superman, he becomes a Superman hater, which leads you to Superboy Prime. Like, really? Like, anyway, dumb. But this makes sense. This is the only one that really makes it.
Bizarro.
Him becoming Ultraman,
Yeah.
that could maybe work, but if he comes back, he's gonna be Bizarro. It's Bizarro.
Yeah, I think a lot of you guys were pointing out. Ron is saying Bizarro. Caleb is saying Bizarro. That is kind of like, I thought that was what they were gonna go with. Almost, if they could have just unmasked him as Bizarro to begin with. So, but yeah, that's probably the most likely situation. All right, well, let us know, guys, what you think. What do you think Ultraman, who supposedly dies at the end of the Superman movie? Again, spoiler alert, but could he come back as a Bizarro? Let us know in the comments down below. Now, before we get back to the other articles that, John, we have to dive into, I just wanted to kind of quickly bring in something new that I don't believe we even had on the show rundown. I thought it was kind of interesting. I saw in comicbookmovie.com that Zack Snyder was asked by Variety before this past weekend, are you going to go see the new Superman movie? Because, of course, Man of Steel made like 12.5 million on its first Monday of release after the opening weekend, whereas we've talked about, like, Superman just made 12.9 million. Of course, without inflation, the numbers look, but inflation we don't talk about usually when comparing the two, but 12.9 is higher than what Man of Steel did, 12.5, not by much, but so far the two movies have followed similar trajectories at the box office. Of course, Zack Snyder, the director of Man of Steel, which we actually ranked yesterday on Tier List Tuesday. You're welcome to go check that out again. That was a fun show, ranking all Superman movies. So here's what Snyder said as far as his plans to go see Superman in a movie theater. You can see on the screen there, Zack Snyder answered the question to Variety saying, "This weekend, I don't think I'm going to see it because I have a horse show. My kids ride horses, but I'm going to try to see it right after that." Do you think Zack Snyder is going to see it during one of these midweek screenings, or is he waiting for second weekend of the movie to go see Superman?
I can definitely see him seeing it, because like he's not as cancerous as his fan base. So like, yeah, I think he'll probably go check it out. He's like, hey, he'll probably be like, oh yeah, it was pretty good. Like, he'll probably do something like that.
Also, these posters from Mondo look pretty gosh darn terrific, don't you think, John? More amazing poster artwork from Superman. We've collected so many of these over the last few months. I'm gonna see if I can add this to our collection. Looks amazing. All right, moving on back to talking about now on the TV side of things, John. I just wanted to ask you a quick question. With 24 Emmy nominations, does that basically mean at this point the Penguin is now firmly, definitively the best DC TV show ever? Not only that, 24 Emmy nominations, does that make the Penguin the best comic book TV show of all time?
No. Just because it gets nominations for, for a dick they probably sucked, that doesn't mean it's automatically the best. Don't get me wrong. It's great.
Oh, come on, man.
But like, come on.
Just because
like,
you don't have an Emmy of your
Daredevil,
own,
come on. I think those are better, in all honesty.
It is the best DC TV show ever, and I think it's definitely better than any Marvel show. So for me, it is basically the best. I think it's the best comic
It's
movie.
probably best DC, but DC hasn't had like an amazing show. Like, it's had a lot of like good shows that a lot of people like Smallville and that kind of thing. The only one that could like maybe be on its level is probably Superman and Lois, but even that's probably not like one of the greatest things. But like, I would say it's up. I don't know if it's my favorite. Maybe it's the best. I don't know. I'm just one guy saying all this stuff, and I know a lot of people. I know some people that didn't like the show. So you know how it is. It's just, I think it's a great show. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable saying it's the best because I haven't seen every single DC show to really make that.
Well, as somebody who has seen a lot more of the DC TV shows over the years, and certainly seen pretty much all the Marvel ones, I can tell you definitively the Penguin is the best comic book TV. It's better than even Peacemaker was. I mean, maybe season
that's
2
not
will be
even
better,
a fucking contest. Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ, that's like comparing shit to gold. Like, come on now.
But look, to each their own. Like, Swag Fan is saying, you didn't enjoy it as much as other people did. I think it is, for me, in my opinion, at the top of the pile, at the very top of the pile. Large combo pizza and large Pepsi soda. That's a good idea, Steven. Is that what you're working on right now? Batman the Animated Series is better than the Penguin in Caleb's opinion. There you go. Costco. You know what? Costco does have a good set of those. That's a good combo. And Movie Spud asking us, I wonder if Zack Snyder will honestly like seeing, Superman. We'll have to see. I'll keep an eye out. I'm sure somebody's going to ask him at his next public appearance. But anyway, John, speaking of the Penguin, I was mentioning earlier that we actually have potentially some news from Colin Farrell, because he was recently being interviewed. And if you want to go over to that article,
I didn't know you switched over. I thought you had it. But here we go. Let's zoom in. There.
He was talking about not only the Batman Part 2, which we know Colin Farrell is a part of. If you scroll down to the quote, this is what he said, right? He was asked about the Batman. He was asked about the Penguin potentially getting a season 2. And he said, there's literally not. If there was, I was told to lie to you. I'd probably have to lie to you, but genuinely no. Talking about the Penguin season 2, because the show went well. Of course, there's been rumblings about what would we do a second season? What would that look like? There's absolutely nothing in process. There's Batman 2, which I haven't read the script for yet. And then there's Batman 3. Batman 3. I don't know if I'm in them or what's happening, but I'll hopefully read Batman 2.
Which is backpedaling on what he said before, because he says I have about 5 or 6 scenes in Batman Part 2. So,
but I mean, that doesn't mean he read the script, right? So he was probably told, like, you're gonna have half a dozen scenes.
Well, he says I don't know if I'm in them, as in both 2 and 3. So,
oh, really? Okay. Well, no. Okay, that's not true. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe he's just misremembering, because we know he's gonna be in the Batman Part 2. But also as a result of this, I just want to quickly ask: do you think now that they've submitted and they haven't kind of changed up the qualification categories for the Penguin and the Emmys, still submitting it as a limited series, do you think they go back and do a season 2 ever, or
it's
are they just going to leave it be?
I think it ended well. I think they need to focus on other characters, since fucking Batman 2 and 3 are taking so damn long. So I think they should stick with that, and whatever comes up.
He probably hasn't gotten a script. Yeah. Hey, Tony's in the chat. How are you doing, Tony? Angelica, mentioning though the Batman movie will have a trilogy. For me, I love it. So speaking of it, John, do you think that Matt Reeves, part of the reason why he was taking so long to work on the Batman Part 2 was because he was working on Part 3 as well at the same time, and maybe they'll try to do what they've done in the past. I mean, look, it wouldn't be the first time, right? We have the Matrix trilogy, where the second and third movies were filmed back to back. We have also seen some, that happened with the Lord of the Rings movies. James Cameron, even with the Avatar movies, with all the money in the world, he's trying to film them back to back, almost like working on almost 3 of them at the same time. So my question to you would be, does this imply what we have seen here from Colin Farrell, that we might actually be getting the Batman Part 2 and 3 almost back to back, maybe not releasing 6 months apart like the Matrix trilogy did, but do you think that's why one of the reasons why Matt Reeves took so long is because he's working on the third Batman at the same time? Because obviously there's a time crunch.
I mean, he said he was working on Batman Part 2
not getting any younger.
Like the post-production of Batman 1, and look how that turned out. So I don't trust anything Matt Reeves really says right now. So yeah, keep it a miniseries.
I mean, the Matrix not good examples. I do hear you on that, but I mean, there's other examples
like
out
the
there.
Best examples are Lord of the Rings and like the Back to the Future sequels. Like those are probably the best ones, because all of those movies are good, ranging degrees, but they're you do.
I mean, even with Richard Donner famously was asked to do Superman 1 and 2, although that never worked out, and in fact he ended up not directing the second movie famously, or at least not finishing it. But a good example would be right now, Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars are filming back to back. Infinity War and Secret Wars filmed back to back. So it's certainly been done before. I wouldn't be surprised to see it, but again, like Angelica saying, maybe it just depends on the box office for the Batman Part 2, which I think, if it's at least as good, if not better than the first one, which made almost $800 million, I feel like the second one is almost a lock for $1 billion, which would be great. And at that point, hopefully Matt Reeves already has a script in the works, because I don't want to wait another 5 years. Robert Pattinson will be 50 if they wait another 5 years after Batman 2 to make a third one. So anyway, getting back to, speaking of Superman and the Richard Donner cut and all that, John, we do have to talk about Superman, the documentary, the Christopher Reeve story. We've talked about it quite a bit in the past year. It's an HBO original from CNN Films. They sort of bought the rights over at DC Studios. It was one of their first projects they released, even before Creature Commandos. It also got itself a few Emmy nominees, 4 of them in total, including Outstanding Directing for a Documentary Non-Fiction Program. John, are you excited to see Superman potentially take home a few Emmy trophies? Do you think it's got a chance at winning a couple of these?
I hope so. The other ones, it's music composition, writing, picture editing are the other 3. But yeah, I hope it wins something and it has more of a chance. But I don't know. I don't know what the other contenders are. I don't know the other nominations, and I haven't seen them. I've just seen this one, so I'm kind of biased. I'll be like, oh yeah, of course I vote for this one. But I mean, I hope it gets, since it was kind of gypped out of an Oscar nomination, because I don't think it was even on the short list or anything.
Nope.
I think
it didn't even make their short list, and we were surprised. Like they've been
it didn't even
affairs,
it didn't even get there. So it's like, which is a shame, but I hope it snags a few Emmys. I know it snags some like Critics' Choice Awards and stuff like that.
Yeah, Superman getting more dubs, I should say. No, I was gonna say W's. Who says that? Superman getting more dubs is especially a good thing in film. Yeah, I did want to quickly point out, Pacerland is in the chat. Hello. Bass Reeves is also here, but Pacerland with a comment that do Batman 2 and 3 at the same time, that finish the trilogy and put Pattinson in the DCU. I did want to ask you, John, every time James Gunn gets asked about this, he's still very non-committal to the idea of having Robert Pattinson join. He still keeps saying things like, it's very, very unlikely, definitely not likely. He's not shut the door firmly on Robert Pattinson joining the DCU. Do you think that's because he wants to do a multiversal crossover, or is he still in some corner of his mind thinking that maybe Robert Pattinson belongs in the DCU in the long run?
Maybe. I just think like I think he's torn between like, this is really good and wants to do it, but like at the same time, I think the director in him wants to be like, I have to respect his vision, but the CEO side of him is like, this is really good. It made us a lot of money, so let's bring this guy into the DCU and have like very successful franchise meet this very successful franchise. But I feel like they just can't do that, because it's like, I understand like the sides are so different, but like, it's just like, I personally don't want to see it. I want Robert Pattinson to remain his own thing, and I will say he looks more like Tom Welling there.
AI doesn't always get it right, but
I just think, like, I understand the contrasting like ideals and looks and feels. I get it, and his neck is looking quite a bit chilly there. I just,
that's a good compliment, Steven. Thank you.
I think
Sorry, you were saying.
I don't think it'll work. Like, I understand like people why they want it, but I don't personally, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's the whole thing of, you got to reconcile 2 very different looking worlds. It's really hard for me to imagine, this Superman in that particular version. There's one of them is so grounded, the other one is so not. So, and yeah, because a lot of people like Bass Reeves, he thinks the Superman is goofy, and that's fine. But like, it's kind of like looking at the Ben Affleck version of Batman and then the Christian Bale version of Batman. One of them belongs in the world where we have Man of Steel, the other one does not. So maybe that's kind of ultimately what it comes down to. Anthony saying David S. Clark to me is a blend of Christopher Reeve Superman and the Superman played by Brendan Routh. Yeah, I would agree with that. He's definitely leaning into that, even more so into the comic book campiness of the character, though. So yeah, Angelica saying, I think it's a really good movie. It is grown on me.
Maybe a little bit more than that. It's good. It's not
grown
great.
on me. The Batman with Robert Pattinson, my
like
first reaction was not very good, but it's gotten better over the years. Like for me,
maybe like when it gets re-released in a theater, maybe I'll go, because I wanted to see it again to see like how it would like improve if it did, but like that shit did not need to be fucking 3 hours long. Like that
it's
like
a little long.
Chopped off like half an hour of that shit. Like,
yep. But that's Matt Reeves, Kate Blanchett with the budget. But anyway, Enterprising saying it can't see Pattinson fighting metahumans, and Caleb saying the only way he sees that happening is the multiverse. They kind of already hint at the idea of a multiverse with pocket dimensions, rifts between multiple universes and everything. So if that's the way James Gunn wants to bring him in, maybe that's why he's not committing to a hard no every time he's asked about it. But I mean, right now, I just wanted to ask you the question because it just seems like James Gunn doesn't want to, shut the door. And like Frankie's saying, Gunn has said that each of these movies will have their own tone. So anyway, let's move on to the next thing, John. We have still got a few more things to get into now, specifically talking about Peacemaker. Yesterday, we were kind of speculating, what is DC's end game? Like, what is their big end game? Like, is it a Justice League movie? Is it a Crisis of the Infinite Earths? Like, which way are the Kingdom Come? James Gunn did say that if people watch the next season of Peacemaker, they'll see where a lot of these things are going. And it's not what anyone thinks. Also, in that same interview, he was asked, like, does this DCU revolve around a particular perspective? And I wonder if Peacemaker is the we were talking about Frank Grillo, but do you think John Cena's Chris Smith is what this DCU, like, at least, Gods and Monsters revolves around? And because after all, this show is going to be very heavily connected with Peacemaker. You see those pictures there with Frank Grillo.
Yeah.
Two of the lackeys.
Sorry if I did
Lex
that
Luthor.
a little bit too early.
No.
I thought you were leading into that.
Yeah, the two of the lackeys of Lex Luthor are in the show. We didn't even realize that until the movie came out, and you see that behind Frank Grillo in those photos. You've got Sid and one of the other characters that they were the ones who released the kaiju in the movie. So you can see the connectivity between Superman and Peacemaker is there. And so I'm guessing the big cameo they're gonna have in this season 2 is gonna be Superman that they were teasing. But with that in mind, John, do you think that when James Gunn says we're gonna find out a lot more?
Does anybody wear boxers in this universe? Like between Vigilante and Peacemaker, I've only seen tidy whities.
But the question is withstanding, John, do you think that the Peacemaker is who this universe revolves around, considering he's also coming over potentially from the DCEU? Like, this is literally the same Peacemaker from the DCEU coming over to the DCU. And then also, yeah, the whole long-term vision of the DCU, where are they going? Like, how is Peacemaker going to tell us what the big picture is in the new DCU?
Yeah, I know we've talked about it a couple times, but I think
hello, Boomer.
I just like the vibe I'm getting from this. Now, this could be just like me being, possibly just making a theory, where it says, with James Gunn saying it's not what anyone thinks after Superman, if people are watching this next season, they'll see where a lot of these things are going. Now, it's very multiverse so heavy, so it might be Crisis on Infinite Earths. I know you mentioned that. So, like, that's entirely the case here, where it's, it's actually, it's Crisis on Infinite Earths because they're bringing like multiverse aspects into here. So it's like, yeah, that could definitely be the case.
That is Otis, Pacerland. I think we're getting into the multiverse a lot sooner in the DCU because they've kind of established that's very much possible in this world a lot sooner than like the MCU even tried it. So, and yeah, Otis is one of the characters from Superman, one of the lackeys of Lex Luthor that looks like he's going to be showing up alongside Frank Grillo's Rick Flag Sr., which is interesting because Frank Grillo's Rick Flag Sr., I mean, we thought he wasn't going to be working with Lex Luthor. He's meant to be more of like a character that operates in the gray area, but I suppose some of the folks that were arrested from the end of the movie when Lex Luthor is taken into custody, maybe they're now paying off their debts to society by working with Rick Flag Sr. because he's like, you guys know these metahumans better than I do. So and also like you showed earlier, John, in that article, we got a look at the White Martian, which we saw in the movie, potentially what they call Mr. Handsome. So I wouldn't be surprised if like the multiversal shenanigans in this show really give us an answer of where Gods and Monsters is ultimately going, and that would be really interesting. Doing a Crisis already might be too big, but then again, James Gunn and Peter Safran have both said they're building for the long term. They have a 10-year plan, so I don't think they're getting anywhere soon with this, like within the next few years. Even a Justice League movie is probably at least 5 years away. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's happening anytime soon, but it's going to be interesting. So I can saying I heard it's better for men to wear underwear or like briefs like those. Yeah, well, I guess to each their own. I will say I have a whole spectrum of options available at my disposal. So I like to try different options depending on the day and the weather and all that. But anyway, TMI. Angelica's saying, so how many chapters before ending this? Is it it's an 8 to 10 year plan for the universe? Well, John, they did say that what we're seeing right now is not only chapter 1 of Gods and Monsters, but it's also meant to be like part 1 of chapter 1 when they first announced it. Do you think that's changed? Like,
I think
this
that's changed.
like how long is it going to take for us to culminate chapter 1? Is it going to take 8 to 10 years, or are we going to have multiple chapters like Angelica's suggesting?
I think that again, somebody brought up a good point of this where it's like I think that initial announcement was like for investors and stockholders and board of directors kind of stuff. Like we're because like fucking DC was kind of bleeding money at that point. So they're like, announce something to get like people excited, and it's like they announced that and it kind of did the opposite because then all the 4 movies bombed that year. So
Well, they all became lame duck movies. Nobody cared about them because there was already going to be an uphill battle for them, given where the DCU was. Then to say that
But
they're
that
basically
didn't help.
inconsequential, like it
and
didn't
even
help.
though they're like, oh yeah, this matters, it didn't matter. Yeah,
Didn't matter. They tried to tease that the Flash would matter to the new DCU. They tried really hard. Ultimately, I mean, Blue Beetle might matter because like they are looking to potentially bring that in with Shola Marduenio continuing to play the character. But let's kind of move on for now because we do have to talk about Peacemaker at Comic-Con, which is less than 2 weeks away. I think we tried to bring this up yesterday, but they have a clip up where they now are telling us that the whole cast of Peacemaker, which we knew from when they were at CCXP, James Gunn and John Cena included, they're all going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. If you go to the next link, I think we have some more details about who's showing up and what day directly from DC themselves. Got on Saturday, July 26th. The crew of Peacemaker season 2 from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. local time in San Diego, which is basically on the East Coast. That's I imagine that is going to be 6:30 to 7:30 Eastern time in the evening. We're going to have James Gunn, John Cena, Danielle Brooks, Jennifer Holland, Freddie Stroma, Steve G, Frank Grillo, and Sol Rodriguez, as well as Tim Meadows. And the whole panel is going to be hosted by Joshua Horowitz, who, of course, just did another podcast with James Gunn as part of James Gunn's last stop on his promotional tour for Superman. So, John, what are you expecting at this Comic-Con? Because I know we're going to talk about Supergirl in a moment, so I'm guessing there's going to be some Supergirl stuff based on the poster being out, the first poster. But what are you expecting from the cast and crew of Peacemaker? Do they bring out one of those surprise cameos at the Comic-Con event? And then, of course, what questions do you think James Gunn is going to get asked about? Because he will do a Q&A session. I wonder what he's going to reveal at that
Not
event.
a lot, because as we all know, James Gunn loves to be a cock tease. So I can't imagine it's a lot.
I hope that we get some information, especially because now people want to know like what's coming up next. It's how loose are you playing it? Like if Clayface wasn't meant to be a thing that they were gonna do, and now they are. So is it like how are they making the pieces fit, right? Like because at some point, while they are flexible with the story, if there is a bigger picture involved, there's only so many directions you can go with things, right? So I do wonder like exactly what the big picture is. And it's kind of funny that a Peacemaker, a character that nobody probably even heard of before the Suicide Squad, might end up being at the center of this whole new, cinematic universe, which is crazy to think about. But it also goes to show you, like, Anthony's suggesting maybe, they're going to end with the New 52 ending, like a crisis event. But ultimately, it goes to show you how much James Gunn trusts John Cena as an actor. So I do love that. New dance opening. Yes, they did say they're going to talk about that. They're going to show it to us. They're going to tell us what the song is going to be. I'm still willing to bet that John Cena shows up dressed as Peacemaker, and actually maybe the whole cast performs the opening sequence, or at least part of it. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. The whole cast is back pretty much, and they've even made a few additions. And I would love to see again what they've been teasing in the featurettes. That secret trailer that's playing behind Superman that we haven't seen yet. If that comes up online, I want to see how they're going to explain away the DCEU connection. So, yeah. Patrick asking, would you like to see Wally West be the new DCU Flash? We've addressed this many times. I don't know, John. That's
I think so. I think they
um
just need to bite the bullet and get rid of Barry Allen because
yeah,
Wally West is the better
probably a
Flash
while to
anyway.
come though. Yeah. I don't think we're getting that anytime soon.
I mean, we're
Anyway,
already
moving on
getting
to
John fucking Stewart, so it's like,
yeah,
and
this
we're getting Damian Wayne Robin. Like,
I
they're
get that,
already
but
introducing like the late
I don't
successors and
think
stuff. So
we're
it's
gonna
like,
see a Flash in this universe for some time. Maybe that will be like one of the last characters we see before we get to the Justice League movie. But speaking of John, I do believe we have some more news regarding the future of the DCU because Sarah Sampaio recently talked about how she might be sticking around for a bit. And she saw all the noise. Like, what is she even doing in the movie? We said it as much, right? That what is Miss Tessmacher doing in this movie, taking all these selfies? Well, it turns out there were probably some of the most consequential selfies in the plot of a movie probably ever. Were you surprised to see that, she said everyone underestimated Eve from the start? What is she even doing in the movie? Why is she taking selfies? This is so stupid. And now everyone is like, oh, she saves the day at the end. And it's a brilliant way of showing how humans and characters are not just one thing. So showing how humans and characters. So we've talked about it at length. Jimmy got game. And Miss Tessmacher probably got even more game because she basically helped save the day. Otherwise, they wouldn't have figured out where Superman was being held hostage in the movies. And then really, like, how would they find him, right? So and Lex Luthor could have killed Superman. So are you surprised that Sarah Sampaio like had such a significant role despite the fact that it didn't seem like it
it is
in the
a bit of a
marketing?
surprise since it
Yeah.
was kind of just like a off, like it was just like this kind of inconsequential character that's just a reference to the original movie since she was made for the movie. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was a nice little surprise.
Yep. And as far as you guys in the comments asking about the synopsis of Peacemaker season 2, I think we're gonna find that out soon. And we did talk about the other day in that secret trailer. John Cena mentions that talking about the DCU as the other universe is like ours but better. So I can't wait to see that actual footage. But moving on to the next thing, John, we've got a couple of more things from Superman and Supergirl. James Gunn finally addressed the controversial change to Superman's parentage. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie yet. If you can zoom in a little bit there's a quote. When he was asked about this recently in an interview, James Gunn said, look, I'm a huge Superman fan. So first of all, I had to trust myself and that I was going to honor the pieces of Superman that we need to keep the same, and also allow myself to make changes where changes might work and wouldn't go against the identity of who the character is. And so I think that was simply dealing with allowing ourselves to change part of the story in a way that was interesting for the DCU, but that wasn't something that went against Superman's ways, or against who Superman was, and has been something that's been played with in the comics before. We have said as much. They've done this in the comics before, making the the Kryptonians sort of cold and maybe evil almost in the John Byrne run. But are you buying James Gunn's explanation? Because he's saying a whole lot without saying much at all, from what I see.
That's again par for the course.
Does this
James
explain
Gunn.
things at all?
I mean, yeah, I mean, he kind of did the same thing with Ego. Ego wasn't, Peter Quill's dad in the comics.
Right.
They only took kind of the villainous. I mean, he is kind of villainous in the comics. Like he's, I think he's kind of like an ends justify the means kind of guy, which is what Ego kind of is. He essentially combined Ego and Jason Quill into one, and but yeah, I think it still kind of does go against the integrity of the character. I mean, even DC kind of realized that when John Byrne did something similar, that they retconned that shit like 10 years later, where it's like, actually, we weren't assholes because of this reason. And it was like, even they kind of realized, yeah, like that's kind of a BS twist. And
what I'll say is I hope that Craig Gillespie was told this is what was going to be in the Superman movie, because now his movie with Supergirl has to reckon with, like how the Kryptonian is going to fit in with the version we saw in Superman. That's going to be interesting to see. But okay, so we've got a few more things here. Let's keep on going here, shall we? Before we finish up, because now we're going to get back into talking about Superman by the numbers, John. We talked about the other day the salaries for the three leads in the movie between Nicholas Hoult, David Cornsweet, and Richard Brosnahan all added up to basically $3.5 million. With a marketing budget, we now know from Variety is estimated to be $125 million, and the budget for the movie itself $225 million. So when you add those two numbers up, 225 plus 125, they spent roughly $350 million making and marketing the movie, with a global opening of 220, which now sits at last check close to 315 million. We're expecting this movie to get to even around 500 million next week. Given how much they've spent on making and marketing the film, Warner Brothers, there was a report saying that they want this movie to make roughly around 500 million for them to consider it a success. James Gunn said that does not need to make 700 million. When you look at the cast salaries, Nicholas Hoult being the highest paid with $2 million, and basically the two leads in the movie with Cornsweet and Brosnahan both getting less than $1 million apiece. I feel like Warner Brothers kind of had the math right here, don't you think? Because if you go to the next Variety article that explains it in more detail, it feels like, they're on the path to profitability. And they also, in the whole process, pumped $100 million into Georgia and Ohio as they went around shooting on location. We know they got like 11 million from Ohio in tax credits. And in Atlanta, they picked up, quite a bit as well. So are you surprised that, that the math here is done so well? Because Peter Safran, being basically the more of the production side guy, it seems like, between what he's doing and what James Gunn doing on the creative side, this team works well. Like, if this Superman movie is, profitable at the end of the day, I feel like it would be because they did the math right, whether it's with the amount of money, they spent in Cleveland and in Atlanta filming on sound stages and in the streets of Cleveland, even in Cincinnati. And then obviously with, how little they had to pay to the actors. Do you feel like the numbers are in favor of Superman being a profitable movie?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll 100% be profitable. I think they already got so many like tax credits and rebates and whatever the fuck the word is for all that. So yeah, I think that's definitely the case here.
Yeah, and I'm gonna post this article in the chat for you guys, because I think this is a great read if you guys want to read into, again, how they spent the money and then the impact that they had. Because we talk about how movies are filming abroad all the time. Well, it looks like, James Gunn chose to spend a lot of that money in the right places to help promote production domestically within the US. Manos time is here. Hello, everyone. I don't know if you already talked about the Supergirl poster. No, we have not. We are getting to it. Actually, that's coming up in the next few minutes. That's going to be our last thing on the show today. So you're joining us just in time. But let's finish up talking about Superman, John. It looks like in this article, they're breaking down in Variety, like, hey, it's a new era for DC. Domestically, Superman has stuck the landing, but internationally, the numbers are still a little disappointing, which we expected because Superman is not as popular abroad. But today, we were looking at the numbers earlier in the show, John, and I'm going to bring those up real quickly. It looks like the international box office has kind of caught up to the domestic, because we're looking at roughly an even 50-50 split. And even, the international box office kind of skipping ahead a little bit. So do you feel like, again, we discussed this earlier in the show, is Superman ultimately, gonna do well abroad and domestically? Is it enough for them to basically make the first Superman movie in this new cinematic universe a financial success, kind of like Man of Steel? Even though Man of Steel was not very well received, Superman, everybody loves it. People have seen it 5, 6, 7 times.
Yeah, I think it will definitely be a big. I don't think it'll get 1 billion,
Sorry.
but I think it'll, I think it'll be a very good financial success. I think it'll get more than 500 million. It definitely seems to be on its way there. So yeah, I think that'll definitely be the case. Yeah, and I just hope it's, it gets the best and gets what it needs to get done.
Yeah. I also wanted to kind of quickly highlight in that article at the very top, the headline says they are fast tracking that Wonder Woman movie. So my question to you, John, would be real quick: do you think this Wonder Woman movie, that now it seems like every time you hear about it, it's a step further along than it was a week ago? How quickly do we get this Wonder Woman? Like, because again, she's part of the Trinity, she's part of the 4 pillars that David Zaslav talked about. And it looks like they might even be holding back on a Superman sequel until this Wonder Woman movie gets made, and maybe even Batman Brave and the Bold. We know Batman Brave and the Bold is officially announced. It was announced as part of the original plan. Wonder Woman wasn't. So if you had to speculate or put a number on it, like, what year do we get Wonder Woman? Is this as early as 2027, or we have to wait a little bit longer than that?
I would say 2027, 2028 seems like the case. And then we're probably going to get Batman 2028, 2029 because it feels like Andy Muschietti is kind of like jerking off doing whatever the fuck else and not really taking this seriously. So it's like, all right, well, you know, we'll see. But I think it
I would
seems
love
like
to know
we're going to
who's
get one.
working on the script, right? Like, because we know Christina Hodgson, right, the one who did this Flash script back in the DCEU. She's part of one of the brain trust of DCU with James Gunn and Peter Safran. So, and so far we haven't seen much of anything from her in the new DCU. I wonder.
Well,
if
that's
this is
probably
the
a good
script she's
thing
working on.
because
So
I don't think she's really all that good of a writer, but you know,
Birds of Prey had its moments. Anyway, Enterprising saying 2027 makes sense. Ron saying 2028. The script must be progressing well because if they're fast tracking it, every time James Gunn talks about it, he's not saying things like "I'm waiting to see the script." No, he's like, "We're moving this thing along. It's gonna happen soon." I wouldn't even mind if James Gunn decided to direct it. Maybe that's the one secret project he's working on that we haven't talked about. Mana's Time saying, don't you guys think that the most important job for DC is to change people's minds on the brand? And mostly they have succeeded with that. Yeah, no, I agree. I think with Superman, they've succeeded with a 93% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, even the critics at 83%. This Superman movie resets the bar for what people are expecting from DC now. And with Peacemaker Season 2, with what we're going to get with Supergirl, hopefully with Lanterns, and then beyond that with Clayface, if they can get on a winning streak, that's all we can hope for. That's really all we can hope for. Bryce Dallas Howard to direct Wonder Woman could be a good option.
No.
I just think she's not that experienced right now to give her that big of a project. That's my only concern. So, but I do hope that we get more of, both Clark and Lois, without being in a Superman costume for Clark in the next movie. It just feels like this particular movie was just too packed with too much going on to give us a lot of Clark after the first act. So, but anyway, let's keep on going, John. The last thing on the show today that we have to get into, well, James Gunn finally did it. He finally put it out. And this I have a question for you, right? But first, before I get to the question, the news is James Gunn released the first teaser poster for Supergirl. If you click on it, they've kind of flipped the message upside down from Superman, where they kept saying, look up, look up, look up. And you can see here, they're now telling us to look out. And this really, to me, would you see the jacket that she's wearing, which we saw at the end of Superman with Millie Alcock as Supergirl. The costume looks pretty much in line with David Cornsweet's costume. She's got a Slurpee in her hand, and also her hands kind of got blood on it, John. So 2 questions. Do you feel like is that paint on her hand or blood? Does that tell you anything about the movie itself? And also, do you see the similarities between this poster and the one for Shazam, the first Shazam movie? And even I think one of the Guardians of the Galaxy posters where they had one of the characters that kind of slurping on some kind of drink. It looks really interesting, doesn't it? Like I immediately thought this looked like a Shazam poster.
Yeah, like I kind of got that vibe when I first saw it. I was like, oh, hey, Shazam. See? But I loving that. And it also looks like her boots are have gold tips on them, which is interesting. Like it's like gold edges and gold tips, so that's kind of cool. I also like the belt. I like the overall look and design of it all. It definitely looks great. It seems like we're getting something slightly tweaked from, what we saw in Superman, like from AKA what we saw here. It definitely looks, this looks more like in line with what we saw with Superman, like right here. Meanwhile, this looks more like her own kind of thing, but still has the same kind of vibe,
Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a blueberry Slurpee. What is the flavor of Slurpee she's working on? Is that
blue raspberry?
Blue raspberry. Okay.
Although it doesn't look like a Slurpee. It looks kind of just like juice, or it got melted.
Something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where she gets it from, but the boots and the belts look like what she wears in the comics. They definitely do. And I know this is kind of in line with what we were seeing all the set photos, so it's nothing that we weren't expecting necessarily. And obviously, if you have seen Superman the movie that's out right now, we do see Kara Zor-El show up there. She's also got the same kind of collar situation going on that Clark has. So
yeah,
who's the villain? It's Krem of the Yellow Hill, played by Matthew Schoenaerts, who's not a very well-known actor, but you might have seen him in a couple of TV shows on HBO. And then Lobo's in there, probably more of an anti-hero, but of course Jason Momoa is playing that. Out of 5 stars,
Even the
John.
trench coat looks kind of different. Like this is like kind of has a zipper and it's
Yep.
lighter. This one just has buttons and it's darker. So
Isn't
this
this
is
the
obviously like
same?
kind of photoshopped a little bit, but
Yeah.
you know.
Isn't this the same thing she's wearing in that set photo, or like from the movie itself in Superman? I feel like let me see if I can find that photo.
No, I mean it's right here.
Oh, you have it? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
well, it's kind of that's kind of
Sorry,
small.
that
But
one, not that
this
one.
is like
This
the
one.
more official
That's the
one.
one.
But it's kind of
Yes.
darker colors. I think that's because she was kind of bloodied and beaten a little bit. But the
Yeah.
belt looks different. The trench coat looks different. Like it's ever so slightly different. But it's like you could tell it's kind of the same costume, but kind
Mhm.
of like what it was, kind of like what it is for like where the like Shazam is another example where it's like clearly it's meant to be the same costume, but it's ever so slightly tweaked because they confirmed it in Shazam too. Like, oh, these are the costumes now. They look different now, but these were always intended to be the original costume. So, because they did that flashback to the first one, and it has, Grace Fulton as, and not Michelle Borth as the adult version, and it has the changed look, the changed
Yeah.
costume. So, it's clearly meant to be like the same kind of thing, but
Yeah. I will
slightly.
say the biggest thing that I like about this is a good point from Mana's time. This feels like a better reveal than the first Superman image that we got. Although again, I feel like it also gives us the tone of the movie. Like this movie is going to be much more, even more punk rock, in maybe a more literal sense than even a Superman, or maybe just more like metal than punk rock. And yeah, we got a very good glimpse at what Kara Zor-El in this universe looks like from just that last sequence in Superman. John, out of 5 stars, how would you rate this poster?
4. Looking
4 out of
cool.
5. Yep, look, all the grunge textures and everything. It also kind of reminds me of some of those alternate posters from BVS. The skirt's fabric, according to Manus Time, looks different too. Even though I prefer the old color, I love the new fabric. Yeah, there's more textures to it. The colors are a lot more vibrant than what we saw in that Superman behind the scenes photo. Um, but I mean, this movie is starting to look better and better. But John, the question becomes: while Ron is giving it 4 out of 5 stars, calling it more rebellious, usually when they release a poster, like we just talked about earlier in the show, Mortal Kombat 2 released a poster. Tomorrow the trailer drops. Comic-Con is coming up. We know Peacemaker is going to be there. They haven't said anything about Supergirl. Do you think we're going to get a Supergirl trailer, like the first teaser? Because they are done filming. They've been in post-production for a few weeks now, at least. Do we get a new trailer by Comic-Con? Do we even get it
Comic-Con
online?
again? Like, what's the
It's
day?
a couple of weeks away. It's like it's not this weekend, but the
Unlikely.
following.
I mean, it's a year away.
Yeah.
When did we get the first trailer for Superman? That's like
We got it in December.
we got
and
it
the
in
movie came out like
December,
6 months later.
and that came in. I would say, when's New York Comic-Con?
I think it's usually in January or February, right? Let me
I thought
take
it
a
was in
look.
October.
Are you sure? Let me take a look. You might be right. Actually, it is October 9th to the 12th of this year.
So I think we might
Okay.
see something for Supergirl, even though they said they wouldn't like have anything. What the fuck does that mean? I think
she's gonna be. Anyway, go ahead, John.
but I think they might give us a little something, like maybe a clip or like a tiny teaser. I mean, I said this for months with Superman. I was pretty much wrong at every turn. Like, oh, we're gonna get something to Super Bowl. We're gonna get like a trailer on this date, and
It's a good point by Frankie too. I mean, well, but that was Marvel though when they had filming. They had been filming for 1 year, not 1 year, 1 week, and they gave us that whole like, oh, you're a bunch of a-holes, like that teaser. I don't know if they have some, but also here's the thing, John. I want to ask you a quick question before we finish up here. This movie is not directed by James Gunn, right? He's talked about Amelia Alcock being Supergirl, saying that she has a completely different background from Superman, a much more difficult background. We'll see the difference between Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, versus Supergirl, who watched everyone around her die in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life. So it'll be interesting to see, like Patrick was bringing up, how are they going to explain the age difference? Are they even going to bother to do that? But nonetheless, being based on the Woman of Tomorrow comic book, is being directed by Craig Gillespie, right? James Gunn is not directing this. James Gunn does put out the first teaser poster. How much do you think James Gunn is going to be out front and center marketing this movie moving forward? Because it made sense that he did that for Superman because he was a director. But I do wonder, like, while he put out the teaser poster, do you think Craig Gillespie starts to get ahead of things? Or do we start seeing things from Millie Alcock herself? Like, or do you think James Gunn will keep on being the person who makes these big news drops, like every time for Supergirl?
I think like James Gunn will have like the big ones, but I think Craig Gillespie will probably help with the press junket. And I think, like, as I said before, Gunn is probably going to have the directors front and center to showcase, like, this is different from Marvel, and to really showcase like the director's vision, director heavy, writer heavy. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Craig Gillespie, like you guys are saying in the chat, is certainly an impressive filmmaker with an impressive background, and he's done quite a few things already. So between I, Tonya, and what was the other big one? Cruella. I don't know if he's directing the sequel to Cruella though, so that will be interesting. But I do wonder, like you guys were saying in the chat, this is gonna be one of the first non-James Gunn directed or written projects in the DCU, because Lanterns, depending on when it comes out, will potentially be the first one that James Gunn did not write. But Supergirl is going to be the first movie in the DCU that James Gunn does not write. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see just how much he's going to be involved in the marketing. I, for one, to give my score on that poster, that first poster, for what it is. Like, I love the genius behind going from look up to look out. The Slurpee, or like, what do we want to call that? The costume. We have seen her already in the movie. They don't want to give everything away because Superman is still out there in theaters, so they want you to see her whole appearance in the movie itself. But 5 out of 5 stars. It's rare that you see a first teaser poster that looks as good and original and creative, that communicates the theme of the movie at the same time as, like, you know, the costume and all the essentials that they need to get across. So
right.
And it also puts to rest once and for all that the logo for Supergirl is literally the exact same as Superman. It's not the one that they were using on set while they were filming. It's not anything like that. Not only does she wear the same crest, but also her logo is the same. Although the tone of the movie might be different because Craig Gillespie's directing. He's got his own style. So we'll see. Yeah, I know James Gunn didn't direct all episodes of Peacemaker, but he did write them all. So it's still, like, very much got his fingertips on all over it. So I think, for one, let's do a final predictions. John, putting up the wrong thing there. The first trailer for Superman, I think you're saying New York Comic-Con. I'm willing to bet we're going to get some kind of a look at it by San Diego Comic-Con. Or at the very least, James Gunn is probably going to tell us something about Supergirl that we haven't heard yet, because he's going to do a Q&A session. So I wonder what else he's going to bring up.
I think, like, maybe he'll answer some questions, but I don't think we're going to see anything else.
Yeah. Maybe Lanterns. Maybe Lanterns they talk about.
Yeah, maybe we'll see something about Lanterns. Possibly.
So anyway, well, hey guys, that's all we got for you today. Another near 3-hour show, but the costume reveal, we already have had that, Caleb. So I don't think we're going to do that. We already know what Supergirl looks like in costume. 5 out of 5 for Pacerland on the reveal. But hey, we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to talk about more Superman news, more things from James Gunn. I'm sure there's going to be a new trailer for Mortal Kombat 2. I can't wait for that. Is it going to be good or bad? Or somewhere in between? We'll see. I want to see more Johnny Cage. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. Bridget is back on the show with John. I'll see if I can stop by, but it's going to be a fun show. Make sure to hit the like button on the way out, as you guys usually do. Hit subscribe if you're new. We're here 5 days a week. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. And with that, John, as Superman would tell you, look up. Or as Supergirl will tell you, look out.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see Colin.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka!